What's up, everybody? How we doing? Wednesday. Hit that like button. How's everybody feeling? My man, 49ers throwback, Raphael, the Pickle King 3000, Pockets. What's good? How's everybody feeling today? What's up? How the heck is everybody doing? It's Wednesday. Let's talk about the Niners. What's up, Eric? What's up, Nathan? There's not a lot of news, but we're going to talk about some stuff because free agency is getting closer every single day. And, at the end of the day, there's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of players that we all want. Does it make sense? And then we got the football news about Brock Purdy yesterday. And, we also have to talk about the quarterback situation. So let's figure it out. Let's talk about it. My man 49ers Throwback says, I like your hat. Appreciate you. I'm going backwards cap style today, for the culture. This is what I used to do. I used to always wear the cap backwards coming on the live, little throwback. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I hope everybody else is doing good. Ray says, let's just forget about the quarterbacks and get Lamar Jackson. I wish it was that simple. He's going to cost a lot of money. Camden says, people doubt Trey for what? It's crazy. Eske Tito says he's in traffic watching. Yo, be careful. Keep your eyes on the road. I know you want to listen and all that stuff. Keep your eyes on the road. Sometimes I do that. I put the TV or I got like Hulu streaming. You got to keep the eyes on the road. It's dangerous. You can't be doing that. But appreciate you for hopping in, watching the show while you're in traffic. But, let's talk about this. So, as we know, Taylor Lewin, offensive lineman, there's a lot of people. I saw this all over Twitter today. Like, literally, I saw Wayne Breezy tweeting about this. A lot of people, and he says, Taylor Lewin makes sense. All the sense for the 49ers. I don't think so. Taylor Lewin, great player, great career. I know he was released by the Titans today. I was one of those people that says, no, it doesn't make sense. The guy's knee history is almost as bad as Javon Kinlaw. Might be worse. Taylor Lewin. So if the 49ers were to take, a low-risk signing on a guy like Lewin, and you can slide him out at tackle. He's played left tackle. He's been one of the better left tackles in the NFL for the last 9 years. But the problem is the last 2 seasons or the last 3 seasons, he's torn his ACL twice. I get it. He's a low-risk kind of guy. And if he pans out, oh, wow, what a signing. We don't need to risk our season. We don't need to risk young quarterbacks behind a guy that can't stay healthy. Because here's the thing. If he were to come in and 49ers sign him, right, and then let's say he gets hurt, you know how pissed off people would be? You know how people, 49ers Twitter specifically, you know how nasty we'd be, sick to our stomach. He's also a left tackle. He said he's not a right tackle. He's tweeted about this many times. He's talked about it before. There was on May 2016, Titans offensive tackle Taylor Lewin says, I'm not a right tackle. So we got people that says, put him at right tackle. And he's played left. To me, if you're going to change a guy's position, you want to start young, right? Go to Spencer Burford. If you're going to slide a guy outside and play right tackle, you got Spencer Burford on the roster, who is really good at guard, but he could play tackle. He did it in college. I feel that he'd be able to learn it. He's still young. He's still, only in his second year. I would invest more on developing your young guy that's been healthy, and he played through a whole season last year at right tackle. I'd rather do that, and he'd be cost efficient. He's on his rookie contract. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of people talking about Taylor Lewin since he got released, but that's how it is. The guy gets released, and everybody gets hyped up. Oh, we should sign him. Because they get caught up in the name. They get caught up in the glitzy, glamorous name. I like Taylor. I think he's a great player, but he's been in the league 9 years, and his knees are worse than Javon Kinlaw's. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's smart. If they don't go and get a right tackle, if they don't go and sign Mike McGlinchey back to the roster, who he probably isn't, because he's gonna get paid more than a lot of players on the market at right tackle. Then you got Colton McKivitz. That's what the 49ers plan right now is Colton McKivitz. Do I want Colton McKivitz? No. But do I want Taylor Lewin? No. I want a guy that can come in and show us some signs and block, and be a good pass protector. Wouldn't mind Burford, but I think there's a lot more options out there. Again, we'll see. But I wouldn't waste my money on a guy that can't stay healthy. So what if they pick up Taylor as a backup for Trent if he's cheap? I mean, yeah, you can back up Trent, but again, it's just wasted money on a guy that, I mean, you're trying to back up Trent. Like, yes, I get it. But they have some players on that line that can develop. I think Colton McKivitz is decent enough to back up Trent. If you're losing Trent on your line and he gets hurt, you kind of in a bad place because nobody could really replace Trent. I mean, obviously he'd be a good backup to Trent, but people want him to play right tackle, and that's where I say, it just doesn't make sense to me. Again, because he's had a lot of issues. I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Lewin retires. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it. He might end it. He's had a long career. He likes his podcast. He's been busy with the podcast, busting with the boys. I mean, that's the thing. But there is options. There are people that say, hey, bring him in. He wouldn't be worse than Mike McGlinchey. Now that's where I kind of draw the line. As much as we kind of rag on Mike and stuff, Taylor Lewin, 2 years out of the last 3 had a torn ACL. I don't want a guy that's damaged good. I'd rather bring Mike McGlinchey than Tyler Lewin, which is crazy talk to me, to a lot of you guys. I know we don't like, but I know a lot of people don't like Mike McGlinchey, but I think he kind of got better as the season went on. Obviously, it was a contract year. He kind of had to. I'm not saying bring him back. He's the guy. He's the answer. But if you got a choice between Taylor Lewin and Mike McGlinchey, I'm going to take Mike McGlinchey. That's just me. So now Ray says, if it's not us having a quarterback situation, if it's not us having a running back situation, it's quarterback situation. It's an everything situation. The 49ers have alignment situation. Now we have a quarterback situation. I still cannot believe the whole situation with Brock Purdy's surgery. Like, I get it. It's delayed. And I know March is around the corner and it's hopefully going to happen in the next 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. We don't exactly know, but it does change things, as we talked about last night. Like, at the end of the day, Brock Purdy is going to have surgery, at some point, but now the surgery is a little longer. So that means his recovery is going to be a little longer. He may be ready by mid-season, which, if you remember last season, Brock Purdy came in mid-season. So if everything kind of works out as it did last year, then we're fine, right? If, let's say, Trey starts out slow, or if there's an injury or whatever happens, and Brock Purdy's ready by, let's say, October, right? Let's say, worst case, he's October, maybe end of October, and then you can throw him back in the lineup, then we're good. Then everything's fine, because we know Brock Purdy, he's proven already that he could come in mid-season and be the guy. You know what I mean? What he did this year. He did that this year. He came in, he went in mid-season, he took over, and it was like, holy crap. But again, he won't have training camp, OTAs, a full offseason. So we don't, obviously he's going to be where he was last year. But then coming out of rehab, how is he mentally? How is he physically? Where is he in terms of his game preparedness, after an injury? Injuries are tough. It is what it is. It's an unfortunate situation. I hope that he can have his surgery soon. But again, also with that surgery, we still don't know what type of procedure he's going to get, right? Because they still have to go in there and open up the elbow and take a look and everything. And right now we're hoping it's the UCL repair, where it's a 6-month, recovery. That's what we're all hoping for. But it could not be that. It could be something more extensive. So we'll see. We won't know until he gets the surgery, which is now in March. So Burnt Reynolds says Trey is quarterback 1 by default. Yeah, 100%. Exactly. At this point now, he is quarterback 1. And that's what I want to talk about in a few minutes is Trey Lance. Burnt says that the 49ers can't bring in a veteran quarterback. I think they can, and I think they will. They talked about it this offseason that they want to bring in a guy to be at least a veteran, because they're going to need some depth. Now, how good of a veteran are they going to play? I don't know. That's the big question. And now the other question is Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I know we all expect him to leave, but I was thinking about it today, and maybe y'all are going to say I'm crazy, but I was thinking about it today. I was thinking about it last night too, and I was like, we're all assuming that Jimmy's just going to get this big contract, that everybody wants Jimmy Garoppolo, right? That everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to start him as our starter. Everybody's assuming that, and I'm not saying that that's false. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, because I see that too. I pretty much have been under the assumption and the take that, yeah, Jimmy's probably going to get signed somewhere and teams are going to want him as a starter. But he is also coming off a broken foot. So how healthy will he be? How much will that injury impact teams wanting it? They're not just going to throw money at him. He's had a lot of injuries through his career, right? We got to remember, we got to keep that in mind, that Jimmy Garoppolo has had injuries throughout his career. Now, I don't think this will happen, but there is a possibility that Kyle says, hey, you can't find a job. maybe come back and be our backup. Now, I think Jimmy wants to get a starting job, so I don't think he's going to stick around with the 49ers to play second fiddle to Trey Lance again or Brock Purdy or whatever. But I believe that story. I believe that take. I believe that rumor will surface at some point this offseason. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, I can see that being a headline like, oh, the 49ers are still considering Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I could at least see some reporter saying that in the next couple of weeks, couple months, because you can't expect everybody to just throw their money at Jimmy because he is coming off an injury too. We got to remember that. That's something that a lot of people that are saying, oh, yeah, Jimmy's going to get signed by here and here and here, which I think so too. I think that our teams are going to want him. But we do have to remember he is coming off a broken foot. So we'll see. And he's had injury pretty much every year. So we got to take that into consideration. So Cheesecake says Jimmy's going to get the money. He was having a great season this past season. He was until what happened? Till he broke his leg. That is something like this. Other teams are going to have to consider it. They're going to have to look at Jimmy and say, okay, broken leg, high ankle sprain, hamstring, high ankle sprain, broken thumb, shoulder surgery, ACL. They're going to look at his injury history. It's like checking the Carfax in a car. When you go get a used car, right? You look at the Carfax. You look at all the accident history. You go look through all that. That will impact your decision. I'm not saying that he's not going to get a job. I'm not saying that teams won't want to hire him, for their quarterback, but they are going to look into that stuff. Like, you got to realize that's a reality. And I think a lot of people are not talking about that enough because I feel like people just want him out of there. People want Jimmy out of there. Like, if you ask the majority of the fan base, they're like, get him out of here. We don't want him. We don't want him anymore. We've seen what he could do. Right. And it's not that they hate him. We all respect Jimmy. He came in, he did the thing he did. He helped change the culture. They won games. They get it, whatever. The players respect him. He's a locker room leader. People are like, okay, we had Jimmy and we couldn't win a Super Bowl. So I feel like the fans are like, let's get the guy that can bring us a Super Bowl, right? But you got to realize he has had a lot of injuries and teams are going to look into that. That's all I'm saying. You can continue to go on and figure out what team is going to take him. Let's see. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, let's talk about Trey Lance. Arun says Jimmy Garoppolo will sign with Tampa Bay. He ain't coming back or the Faders. He won't get the money he wants. I think he is going to take, and I've predicted Tampa Bay. If he does go to another team, I can see Tampa Bay being that team. I really feel like that's the vibe. So, hey, Boogie says, just don't ask Montana about Jimmy. Man, Montana, he feels a certain way, huh? Let's see. Camden says, y'all just watch Trey. He'll play okay in his first couple of games. By the end of the season, he'll prove why he's a top 3 pick. And that's what I hope. And that is what I hope. Because, listen, I for one, am one of those guys that want to see Trey Lance succeed. I know not everybody does. I don't know why people are against him. It's crazy. His fan base is always split. But whatever. If you don't want Trey, if you like this other guys or whatever, that's cool. I'm not going to tell you who to like. I'm not going to tell you that you're a shitty fan for not supporting. It is what it is. Everybody has their prerogative. Everybody has their opinion. I can't tell you what your opinion should be. I can tell you what my opinion is. I can tell you what my take is. And I like Trey. I think he's a good young man, and I hope that he succeeds, right? That's what I want. They traded up a lot to get him. They gave up a lot of first-round picks, and he was the number 3 pick. So he has high expectations. Can he reach that high expectation? Can he hit a ceiling? That's what we need to know. That's what we need to figure out. And this is the golden opportunity for Trey Lance, right? Can Trey Lance hit that ceiling? If Kyle trusts him, I think he can. And if he can come back mentally strong, if he can have that mobility, and if he can extend the plays with not only his legs, but his arms, if he can develop the accuracy, if he can, get those timely passes, the short window passes, because Brock was good at little short window passes, timely passes. He knew how to make those reads. He was able to hit the check down, but he was able to go through his progressions. It's just quarterback, right? Like, Brock knew how to play the quarterback position at a higher level. Trey, obviously, he has moments. He has some potential, some highlight level plays, but he also is inconsistent because he hasn't had a lot of development. So this is a golden opportunity for Trey Lance to come in and prove without a shadow of a doubt he's the guy, right? He is the guy. Can he live up to his potential? That's what we all want to know. I think he can. Again, it all starts with if the team trusts him, if Kyle Shanahan trusts him. That's what I want to see. I want to see this team rally behind him. I don't want to see him give him the old trite media, politically correct answer. I want them to seriously say, yo, Trey Lance, this guy's wowing me. This guy really is stepped up. This guy's made improvements. I want to see him say that. But it all starts with Trey. He's got to put in the work. He's got to go in there. And we got to see if he can be the same type of guy with the mobility and everything after the injury. He had a pretty big injury himself. I know we talked about Brock Purdy having the surgery, but Trey Lance had a pretty big surgery himself, in the ankle, right? He broke his freaking foot, man. Fractures. It's crazy. It was a tough injury. But will he mentally be ready? Because sometimes you have those injuries, you get a little tentative. You don't want to run. But that's going to be his game. He has to be able to come back stronger than ever. Can he hit his ceiling? That's what I hope he can do. Peter says, I don't know why they're looking to sign a veteran when Jimmy would be the best option. See, Peter, and he definitely is an option. But I think the issue is I don't think Jimmy wants to play backup. That is, to me, the biggest issue is they need to see what Trey Lance has. They have to. They went and traded all the draft capital for Trey Lance because Jimmy couldn't stay healthy. So it was basically saying we're going to replace Jimmy with Trey Lance. Obviously, Brock Purdy came along and he made things a little bit more complicated. But the thing is, Jimmy expects to be a starter, right? And so does Trey Lance. So if you bring back Jimmy Garoppolo, you're literally at the same spot you were at last year, and nothing has changed. You're in a continuing quarterback battle, which we don't want anymore. I think as fans, we're tired of it. We want to say, here's your quarterback, pick the damn quarterback. That's the guy. Let's roll. You know what I mean? And I think the players too. I'm sure they're tired of having musical quarterbacks. The receivers, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, these guys, they want consistency. I'm sure they do. I'm sure it's irritating to have to figure out how to play with different quarterbacks. Like George Kittle, he said he has never had the same quarterback in any of his seasons starting in any of his NFL seasons. Like he's never had the same starting quarterback through his whole career. We need consistency at that spot. So I know Jimmy can come in and he knows the offense. He knows the players. He knows what to do. He knows the scheme. But he wants to be a starter. And he should get a chance to be a starter, right? He should be able to go somewhere. And Trey Lance deserves his chance. He's been waiting for a while. And we got to see if they hit with this pick or not. We got to see if it really pans out or not. If they take an L, they take an L. If they take a dub, they take a dub. We got to see. We got to see what Trey Lance is really all about. Obviously, last year, he was about to get that chance. Injury wiped it out. And then here comes Brock Purdy, and it was like, oh, shit, we got a guy. Brock Purdy's hurt right now, and Trey Lance, this is his opportunity. The world is his oyster right now. See what he can do. Can he live up to that potential? Nathan says, Kittle is tired of having a different quarterback throw to him every year. I'm tired of it. It's crazy. Like every year we sit here and we're like, fuck, another quarterback, That's all we do in the offseason, talk about quarterbacks. Team Money says, everyone underestimates Trey because of his experience on the field. And I think that 100% is the key takeaway of Trey Lance. It's when you talk about people, they say he's not ready. Last year he's not ready. He has arm fatigue, because he's trying to do too much or whatever the case is, or he doesn't have enough game experience. He's too young. He's too raw. Like those are the things you'll hear. Those are the critiques you hear of Trey Lance. And 100%, he hasn't been able to play much on the field. Like, let's be honest, he hasn't played much. He played North Dakota State 2019. Then there was the COVID year. He didn't play. He's rehabbing a hip also. And got drafted by the 49ers. He didn't really play that year. He was back up to Jimmy. And then he finally was able to play. He was going to be the starter. Played a game and a quarter. He left the season with his injury. So he hasn't played much. So it's true. And I think that is what people doubt him for, because they're, he sucks. He can't stay healthy. He's injury prone. He's got no experience. So this is the year where he's going to get the opportunity. This is a golden opportunity. It sucks for Brock Purdy, but for Trey, this is an opportunity that he gets to go out there and prove, I'm the guy. At least he can go out there and show us what he has. If it's not good, it's not good. If it's great, it's great. That's the way I'm looking at it. So, MF says, I was at the Bears game last year. I thought the weather played a big factor in Trey's performance. Yeah, that game was unfortunate. And I know people just rip Trey apart and they're like, oh, you're making excuses. But, let's be honest. The game he was able to play this year, the full game he was able to play, it wasn't in good conditions. Like, you throw any other quarterback in that position. Let's say Jimmy played that game. Let's say Brock Purdy played that game. Would they have done any better? I don't know. Would they have won? I don't know. It's hard to say that because the conditions on that field were tough. That was his first start of the season on the road on a crappy field. It definitely, to me, it wasn't the best, conditions for his first start of the year. I don't want to give him any excuses because if you're a good quarterback, you should be able to play through the elements. But I mean, that's a tough situation, to be in. So again, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. That was a horrible condition. I mean, the field, they were slipping and sliding. They were slipping and sliding. So it was an ugly game. It's an ugly game, MF. That was a horrible game. Burnt says, let's see what happens after the draft. The draft is going to be crazy. Free agency. This next 2 months, March, April, free agency and the draft, we're going to find out a lot about this team. We're really going to find out a lot about this team. So hopefully they can piece together their free agents. Hopefully they can piece together their quarterback situation, get a veteran at least. And hopefully by that point, Purdy is coming along and recovering well. And by that point, Trey Lance should be running and gunning and doing his training, with Quincy Avery and everybody else he's going to be training with, Les Spellman and everybody. So let's see where Trey is in his development. It's great to see the videos that he posts and the stuff, but it's about the game. I could see all the hype videos. I could see all the cool, workout videos. I love those. Those are cool. But let's see how it goes on the field. That's where we really need to see the development and all the hype that we're going to put into this offseason, all the training. Let's see if it comes onto the field. And then it comes down to Kyle Shanahan. Will Kyle Shanahan give him a fair shake? Will he give him the same playbook? Because I feel like he didn't give him the same playbook. He said it. Kyle did say in his last press conference, he says, Trey Lance is a dual threat quarterback. It's a dual threat. Like he views him differently. Obviously, he is, a mobile, athletic quarterback. And I think Kyle sees him differently than a guy like Brock Purdy or even, Jimmy Garoppolo. He sees him differently. So he wants to utilize him differently. But I feel they should utilize the same plays that they used with Brock Purdy. Let's see if Trey can make them. If he's your quarterback and he's running your system, let's see if he can hit those same plays. And then maybe in Kyle's mind, he hasn't developed to where he can make those plays. But at this point, you got no choice. You got to see what he can do. Give him the playbook. Let him run it. Let him see what he can do. That's what I want to see. Let's take a look at some of these comments. Camden says, we need to realize that if Trey plays better than Jimmy did in 2019, we have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I agree with that. If he plays, 2019 was a hell of a year for us. 49ers got to the Super Bowl. Jimmy played well that year. He had some big games that year, obviously. Saints game, Rams game. There were some nice games, some Cardinals games. He had some games where it was like, damn, okay, that's good quarterback play, And Trey Lance just has to get us there. And hopefully his team can finish the job when we get there. But, he is unproven, and I think a lot of people don't think that with this team, Trey can get him there, But I think he can. If he can live up to that ceiling, I think this team, you got CMC. We have never seen Christian McCaffrey and Trey Lance together. You got Debo, who's going to be there, and he's going to have a full year offseason of training this year. You got Brandon Ayuk, who we all know him and Trey are dogs together. You got Jennings. You got who'll probably be back. And then you got Danny Gray. That's a special guy that I think Trey can get the most out of with his deep passes. You got Ray McLeod. We really didn't get to see much of him and Trey. So we got some weapons, and I feel like Trey is in a good position. He's in a good, situation. Because one of the things we talked about with Brock Purdy is, wow, he's in a great position. He has all these players to his arsenal. It's the same thing people were saying last year about Trey Lance, but they said it about Brock Purdy. Like the people that doubted Brock Purdy all year. Oh, well, he has so-and-so on offense. He's got Kittle. He's got so-and-so. Of course he's going to do great. Well, now Trey Lance has so-and-so and everybody. So see if he can harness those weapons, And again, one thing we talked about last offseason was, hey, Trey Lance is in a perfect position for a young quarterback, right? When we were talking about like Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence and all these guys, and we're saying, man, Trey has the best situation of all these young quarterbacks. Now, circle forward another year later, Trey Lance is in the same position. He has probably the best skill set of players of all those young quarterbacks he was drafted among. So, my man says, do I like how Shanahan uses Trey Lance between the tackles running? I don't love it. I don't want him to do it like 13 times a game like he does sometimes, because the more you run as a quarterback, the higher chance of injury you're going to have. Now, and Trey, a lot of players do it. Josh Allen has been able to run through the tackles. I see Lamar Jackson. Any running quarterback, whether they run in between the tackles or outside the tackles, they're at a chance for injury. Do I like them doing it? No, but that's the skill set that these guys have, these athletic, mobile quarterbacks. That's the new wave. That's 2023. Welcome to the NFL with quarterbacks. Over the last 2 decades, that has improved. That type of quarterback play has expanded every single year, and it's a common play. You see it in college. Unfortunately for Trey Lance, they had a big ass lineman fall on his leg. It sucks, but I feel like if they would have worked, if the 49ers were, tearing it up and using those plays and getting big yards, we would have all been happy. But unfortunately, he got hurt. It happens, and it does suck. I'll say this. I don't hate it if it works, obviously, but I don't want them to run that play 13 times a game. That's where I draw the line. Maybe two times, that's cool. Run it, catch a player off guard, run to the outside. Let Trey kind of use his legs. Let him dictate when he should run, like a non-design. I don't want a design run play all the time. Every once in a while, that's cool. You can design it, but because you got to keep the defense on their feet, keep them honest. But let Trey dictate it. But then it goes back to his development. Will he be able to see the need when he can do it, when he has to tuck it or run? That's where the development comes. And we saw Purdy. He was able to run away from pressure all the time. We saw he was so mobile. He ran those bootlegs all the time. He saw the pressure come in, pressure collapse, the pocket collapse. He was able to step up most of the time. I mean, not always. There were some times where he made some mistakes. That play against Philly where he got hurt, if he would have stepped up and found Brandon Ayuk, he would have hit him. He would have got probably a touchdown or close to it at least. So, I mean, young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. But do I like him running between the tackles? No, especially the amount they use. They did that one time in a game 13 times. It's crazy to me. It's a lot. That's too much. My man Boogie says, can Trey and Brock be used the way Taysom Hill and Dalton were used? They absolutely can. They absolutely can. But it depends on what Kyle feels is right for this offense. He did say that both of these guys are starting quarterback caliber players for his offense. But I think he's the type of guy that wants one guy running it. They did experiment that two-headed running back or two-headed quarterback in preseason, 2 years back. I mean, it was okay. It was cool, but I don't think that's Kyle's style. I don't think that's his MO. I think he wants to run with one quarterback, let him do the job, and if he can't get it done, he's got the backup. Like, I feel like Kyle wants one guy. That's his quarterback. He doesn't need to play with two different quarterbacks. But can they? Could they do it? 100% they can. I just don't think Kyle wants that. But again, I don't know. I can't read his mind. But in my opinion, the way I see things, I don't think Kyle wants that. He wants one guy to follow his play set and go out there and win the games. I feel like he has to have one guy to be able to hit those throws because he scripts plays so much. He has his scheme, and it has to follow a pattern and a flow. And one guy, I feel like, is all that he needs to do that because his offense is very complicated. Now, you get two guys in the mix, that just really kind of complicates things for himself involved too because he's calling the play. To me, it would be just too complicated, I feel. I don't know. But could they do 100%? They could do it. They could do it. Young Montana, my boy. He says Trey and CMC will be unstoppable. I think it would be a nice duo. Obviously, we haven't seen it. RPO all day would be nice. Dalvin Tomlinson, bring him in. Let's get him. Control, what's good? BA, 1,200-plus yard season incoming. I could see it. I think BA is going to explode, right? This is his last year of his contract, 4 years, and they're going to most likely pick up the 50-year option. Obviously, they will. But now check this. You got BA. 1,200 yards after this year. He's going to have to get paid massively. So I definitely think that Brandon Ayuk's going to have a massive season. Huge season. Mitchell got to stay healthy, man. I agree. Good player, a great value pick that they had in the draft 2 years back. Man, he has to stay healthy. It's unfortunate that this guy's just been dealing with so many injuries these last years. Can he stay healthy? I hope so. Camden, this is a good comment. He says, there's no reason to have Trey run that much with Christian McCaffrey and Mitchell. Well, maybe, again, we talked about Mitchell being an injured guy, but if he can stay healthy, yeah, 100%. You cut down the running reps of Trey. You got Christian McCaffrey, should cut down. You still got Debo who can run. You got TDP, hopefully he can pan out. You got Jordan Mason, and I'm pretty sure the 49ers will get another running back late in the draft, but you have running backs. You don't have to keep using Trey as a running basically a running back at times. You can mix it in there. I don't mind to mix it in. I love it because that's his skill set. When we drafted him, we were like, oh my God, look at the mobility. Look at the things he can do. So yes, I want them to incorporate it, but I don't want that to be his major weapon. At the end of the day, he's a quarterback. We want him to drop back, make those passes, find those reads. That's what we want out of Trey. That's what he has to be able to do. Again, can he hit that ceiling? That is my big question. Let me ask you guys, do you think Trey Lance can hit his ceiling? He was drafted with the number 3 pick in the NFL draft. Can he hit the ceiling? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Simple as that. Will he hit it? Can he hit it? What do you guys think? Cheesecake says Jordan Mason should play more, 100%. Let's see. Arun says, to me, Purdy is a smarter quarterback. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Purdy is smarter. Trey has got a ton of talent, but his football IQ, I don't know. I think that's a fair assessment to say that Purdy is smarter. I mean, again, he's played a lot more football. He played 4 years in a big power conference in college compared to Trey Lance. So you got to take that into consideration. He came in right away. He looked like he was able to lead this team. Those are factors that you have to look into. So yes, Trey Lance, he probably doesn't have the football IQ as Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy just more experience. So yeah, 100%. With more experience comes more, you become a little bit more wise, right? You're a little bit more smart. So in terms of figuring things out on anything you do, working, whatever your job is, football, game prep, you're able to read the plays and make your progressions and understand the playbook a little bit more, a little bit faster, a little bit clearer. So yeah, I would agree that Brock has a higher IQ than Trey. It's no slight to Trey, but I 100%. I mean, he's played a lot. I mean, it's natural. Brock Purdy's played a lot more football than Trey Lance. So let's see. Get some of these questions. So how do you determine ceiling? That's a good question. So I think people have these, they study film, they study analytics, they study, projections off stats. Those are the only things you can look at. You look at, Pro Football Reference. You look at all these, analytics. People throw out all these analytics, and then you just look at his tape and you see, what his skill set looks like, and you compare him to other quarterbacks, and then that's where you kind of can say, hey, look, based on what we've seen, based on his, his tape and everything, he could be the type of player that, Josh Allen is, or people will throw out, names, and you look at him, you're like, oh yeah, he reminds me of a guy that can play like that. So I feel like that's how you're good. That's one aspect of determining ceiling. Obviously, there's measurables. You got pro day stats, you got the combine stats. You look at all those things and you put them together. When they run the 3-cone drill, when they run the 40, like you put all those aspects together and you compare them to previous players at their position. That's when you can start saying, oh man, he ran the same 40 time as X player. He ran the same 3-cone drill as X player. That's kind of how people start figuring out, oh man, he's got a ceiling like, this player. And then the film, and you look at certain plays they make, that's kind of how you're going to determine it. But what people see out of them, they see very similar traits to players like Josh Allen and things like that. So when you see those names, you're like, damn, can he be a player like that? Can he be that guy? That's when your mind starts going to all these, oh man, he looks like he could be so-and-so. He looks like he could be Patrick Mahomes. He has that skill set. People start throwing these names out, and then that's when you start saying, can he be that guy? This is a good question. What if he is at his ceiling? And that's where we'll figure out this season, this offseason, right? He's going to go out there. He's going to bust his ass off. They're going to give him the opportunity because right now, by default, if they do nothing else this offseason, Brock Purdy goes and heals. They maybe get a cheap veteran, Nate Sudfeld or Gardner Minshew, whoever they bring, and trade your quarterback for the start of the season. We're going to find out. We will find out, and we're going to see. Did he get better this year? Did he drop back? Did he take some steps back? That's what we're going to see because he's going to have all the opportunity. But you also got to consider he is coming off an injury. Well, how much does that injury impact his development? And how many games can he play? What are his, projections based on these games that are coming up? And a lot of good questions. That's what we won't know. We don't know. But if he goes out there and he just looks like dog shit, you could be right. Maybe he is at his ceiling. So we won't know until he plays, unfortunately. We won't know. But that is an unfortunate reality, that we may face. This is tough. This is a weird offseason. I feel like I don't know. I don't really know if anybody's had a season like this. We got two fucking starting quarterbacks. Excuse my language. Both of them aren't healthy, and we don't know what the hell we're gonna do. So, my man Big Mac, what's up, Big Mac? He says Trey will showcase his talents to a Pro Bowl and Super Bowl win. See me in the year. I hope you're right, my boy. I hope you're right. Again, I'm pulling for Trey. I love the kid. He's got a great mindset. He's a humble young man. I want Trey Lance to succeed so bad. Because if Trey Lance succeeds, the 49ers succeed. And I want the 49ers to succeed. So to me, it makes no sense to root against the 49ers or Trey Lance. If you're a 49er fan, you want to see Trey Lance succeed and hit that ceiling, whatever the hell it may be, right? Whatever that arbitrary ceiling is, we want him to hit it. And we want it to be better than, like my boy Pocket says, what it is right now. Like he said, what if this is his ceiling? We want it to be sky high. We want him to hit it because we want this team to win a Super Bowl. So to me, it behooves us to root for this man to go out there and play like a baller. Get this team to a Super Bowl. MF says, is Aaron Banks, this is off-topic tangent, is Aaron Banks for real? Seems like he'll just keep getting. Aaron Banks looks for real. That guy's second-year leap was incredible. It basically, if you really think about it, that was his rookie season. I know it technically wasn't. What I'm saying is he didn't really play his rookie season. He redshirted. He got hurt. He suited up for a couple of games, but he never played. Last year was the first time he started and set foot and played in regular season games. And he was a dog. And he should have been a Pro Bowler. He will be. Aaron Banks, man, I agree. He will just get better. That guy was so good. And you know what? I ate crow because a lot of us ate crow. A lot of us were like, oh, man, why did they take this guy? He doesn't fit the system. They could have drafted so-and-so, Asante Samuel Jr., blah, 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 blah. So a lot of players they could have drafted, but I'm glad they didn't. Now looking back at how he panned it, man, he turned into a stud last year, a mauler. And he's different than a lot of these guys on this offensive line for the 49ers. He is a powerhouse mauler. Hit you in the teeth, kick you in the head type guy. He's not a finesse guy like a lot of these guys on the line. He's pure power, and he's pretty quick on his feet, but he's powerful. And he played right next to Trey Williams, which is a beast. So this is a good one. Draft Andrew Voorhees from USC and move Burford to right tackle. I like moving Burford to right tackle. I know some people won't because you don't want to change his position. He's young. If you're going to change a position, you do it early, and he's played that position. But he can kind of move around guard and tackle. And again, I would rather move Spencer Burford to right tackle than go and get Taylor Lewin. To me, I feel that would be a smarter decision. Taylor Lewin, his knees are worse than some of my 80-year-old patients I see at work. I'm not trying to take Taylor Lewin. That's just me. I would take a guy like Voorhees, smart, he's young. You can move Burford to the right tackle. That's the solution. My man 49ers Take says, what's up, Aaron? Shout out to my boy 49ers First Takes. Guy, we're always on his channel. We're always chatting it out. I love the guy. He always, bringing me on as a guest. But he says, do you have the sense that the 49ers stay put and pick in the draft or maneuver? I can't see them staying put. They got a 10 or 11 draft. They got a lot of draft picks, and I can't see them taking that many draft picks because will all those players stick around, make the team, practice squad? Probably not. So I feel the 49ers will maneuver a little bit. I don't know if they'll move up or down, but John Lynch loves to maneuver around on training on draft day. So I would be shocked if the 49ers did not maneuver around on draft day. That's my take. So I think they will. Aaron. 49ers media, what's up? How's it going? I'm good. How are you? My man, No Border Sports. What's up, my boy? Nathan says, I'm looking forward to Kalia Davis. I am too. I'm intrigued to see, what we're going to get out of him. But this is basically, going to be his rookie season because last year, ACL, rookie season, it was his redshirt year. But we'll see how much reps is he going to get. But I'm excited about this guy. It's a guy that could come in and become a nice depth piece and continue to develop. They've likened him. They've compared Kalia Davis to DJ Jones. If he ends up being 80% of DJ Jones. Love it. I'd love it. 6th-round pick, this Kalia Davis kid is. 6th-round pick out of UCF. DJ Jones was a 5th-round pick. They find late talent. They found good talent late. They always do it. Kalia Davis is the next guy. It's another dub for Lynch and Adam Peters. I would love to see it. Appreciate you, Camden. Young Montana says Jimmy to the Raiders. Ooh, could you imagine Jimmy wearing the silver and black? Oof. Ugh. To Raiders. It would be crazy. Cheesecake says he's not betting against them, but definitely rooting for whoever is under center for the 49ers. Yeah. You got to root for whoever's under center at this point. I mean, we want to win a Super Bowl. Whoever's there, we got to hope that they can come out and win games, man. I just know there's going to be a lot of people rooting against him. And if he's there at under center, it's weird. It's like they're going to be like waiting for him to fail. So, see, I told you. I told you. But it's weird energy to me. But to each their own. DJ was a 6th-round pick. Okay, correction. I stand corrected. I knew it was a late-round pick. 6th-round pick. So same value. All right. Sad Niner fan, my boy, says, do you think Jason Poe gets on the field this year? I could see him getting there. I know he was the scout team player of the year, one of the scout team players of the year. So to me, it shows that he really impressed Shanahan in some type of way. I feel like he could see the field. It really depends on how that O-line development goes this offseason. That's going to be one of the most competitive parts of this, training camp. It's offensive line. Obviously, we got Trent Williams, we got Aaron Banks, we got Spencer Burford, but who the hell else is going to be on that line? And then who's going to be the backup? So I could see Jason Poe at least making the final roster. I don't know if you'll see some time this year unless there's an injury, but there always is injury. So, unfortunately, through an injury, he might see the field that way. But I definitely think he'll move up. And if he's not on the practice squad, where I feel he'll at least be on the practice squad, I can see him making the final 53, man. The guy's a worker. He's a guy that wants to, prove a lot. He's got a chip on his shoulder. And Shanahan does that. He gets a lot of players that are undrafted that want to prove themselves. Those guys are hungry. They want to work harder than anybody. And they want to say, hey, look, I deserve to be on this team. So do I think he gets on the field? It's possible now that he gets it. Because I could see him making the roster. And, let's say there's some weird little injury or something and they throw him in there. And then he can prove himself. But I definitely think that Jason Poe's going to be there. They're going to develop him, and he'll stick around for a little bit. Again, he was a scout team player of the year on the 49ers. So he's definitely going to be sticking around and getting a lot of opportunities. I like that guy. He's kind of versatile. It's crazy. He can play fullback. He can play guard. He can play center. He's a versatile dude. That's a versatile dude. Looks like a bowling ball. Yeah, so he was lined up as fullback. Yeah, have you seen his film or his college highlight? He created this college highlight tape, like just this highlight tape. He went out there, filmed himself, and he was running like a freaking fullback. Big dude, he's a lineman, and he's looking like a quick little fullback, and he runs offensive line drills. Just looked amazing. Like he showed his athleticism because he didn't get a pro day invite and all that stuff. So he went out there and he just filmed his highlight, and it blew up. Obviously, it went viral, and people noticed him because of that. That's how he got noticed and scouted, because he just put this highlight tape out there. And people are like, "Holy shit, who's this guy?" Because he went to Mercer College, a small little school. Nobody knows what Mercer is, so he went out there, made himself viral. So, pretty dope dude. 4-4. Any updates on Alfredo? He was signed to a futures reserve contract, so he might come back on the practice squad this year. He's going to get an opportunity to go out there and, play and develop and show himself and show his, put his best foot forward. So he's going to get an opportunity. Do I see him making the team? I don't know. We'll see how good he is in camp, because, again, like I said, offensive line is going to be one of those positions where it's going to be very competitive, and they're going to keep the best of the best. And the guys that are almost there, they'll get set to the practice squad. So I could see Alfredo maybe staying on the practice squad. I would like to see him take a little leap and maybe challenge for a spot on this roster. The guy's big, but again, we haven't really seen much out of him. He's a developmental player, We'll see. Sad Niner fans, his thoughts on Justin Houston. I like him. Good veteran. He's a guy that's been very consistent throughout his career. I think he could still get you. He could probably still get you 8 or 9 sacks, which is crazy. But I like Justin Houston. He's older, obviously. He's a crusty veteran, but I think he's a guy that the Niners could potentially bring in. He's veteran, sign him for a 1-year deal, and he might be able to get you like 7, 8 sacks. I don't know. I just think that the 49ers definitely need some edge rushers to help out. I like Omenahu. I want to bring him back. I wouldn't be mad if they brought Ebicam, but I want a pass rush specialist, a guy that's just going to run towards the quarterback. That's all he needs to do. So yeah, I wouldn't hate Justin Houston. He's not getting any younger, so I'm not going to try to give him a lot of money, but he wouldn't hurt this team. I think he would help out just being able to run out of quarterback, and he's very consistent every year. Let me take a look at his stats. The guy's been very consistent through his whole career. Let me see. I know he's had let's take a look. Let's take a look at his stats. Look at that. He had 9.5 sacks last year. That's crazy. Justin Houston had 9.5 sacks. He's been playing in the league since 2002. This man's been in the league since 2000. Not 2002, 2011. I was reading. He's been in the league since 2011. That's a long time. 2011. Look, he has 111 sacks through his career. He's very consistent. He had 5 sacks, 10 sacks, 11 sacks. He had a season where he had 22, 7.5, 4, 9.5, 9, 11, 8, 4.5, 9.5. He's going to get you some production. He's an old man, but he can still put it out there. Not bad. Just a solid veteran. Dang, God, 11 years. Since 2011? Jesus. Been in the league for a long time. So he's played for Kansas City, Indianapolis, and Baltimore. Bring him to the NFC. Slide over to the Bay. God, dog. Todd says, did he play for the Bengals? Looks like he played for Baltimore, Indianapolis, and Kansas City. He played for Kansas City for a long time. I remember that. I remember when he played for Kansas City for a very long time. 22 sacks in a year. That's crazy. Back in 2014. That's a lot of sacks. Morgan says, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time. He might retire as the best quarterback. I don't think he is the best yet. Statistically, it's proven wrong. Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls. But Patrick Mahomes is on the fast track to becoming the best in the world, man. That guy's good. I got no hate for Patrick Mahomes. He's a good player. He's phenomenal. Let's see. Let's take a few questions here. Maybe I'll get a few of you guys on. Let's do a call in. You guys want to call in real quick? You want to hop on real quick? I'll put the link in. I'll get a few people on here, answer some questions, see what you guys think about the quarterback situation. Let's do it. Let's run it. Let's see. Did I play with Patrick Mahomes? Yes, at Texas Tech. Me and Patrick were best friends at Texas Tech. I played with him. I was the wide receiver, and he was the quarterback at Texas Tech. Cliff Kingsbury was our head coach. We played for many years together. It was a great time in my life. Let's see. Would you like me to drop the link? I'll have a few of you guys hop on if you want. Is Arden Key a free agent? Yeah, he is a free agent. He had a 1-year contract with the Jaguars. I think he'll re-sign with the Jags. I think he likes it there. They kind of changed the culture with Jacksonville. I think he'll stick around with the Jaguars. But I wouldn't mind bringing him back. I like Arden. He was cool, man. He was a good player. We kind of resurrected his career, honestly. He was kind of they thought he was a bust. They thought he was a bust. And here he is. He was a solid veteran, a solid addition to this team a couple of years back. So I wouldn't mind bringing him back. Let me see. I'm going to drop the let me see. Drop the link here real quick. if you want to hop in. No doubt, Todd. Appreciate you for hopping in. I'm going to drop the link here if you guys want to hop in real quick. I'll take like 2 or 3 of you guys. You can hop in. We can talk real quick. Call in. We'll do an impromptu call-in at the minute. Jags might be good this year. Nathan says Jags are going to be really good this year. I think they're one of the most up-and-coming teams in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence entering his third year. They got a good coach. Doug Peterson has really been able to turn that team around. It shows you how bad Urban Meyer was as a head coach. He was horrible. Terrible coach, man. So definitely going to have an improved team. They're going to have Calvin Ridley back this year, which is underrated trade they made last year. The guy got, suspended for the league for gambling. They went and traded for him. Now they're going to have him and everybody else that they had on this team, Travis Etienne, and they're going to be a nice little team in the AFC. They got some better players on defense this, last year, and they're going to improve. You got Josh Allen. You'll probably bring back Arden Key, and there's some young players on the rise. I like the Jaguars. I think they'll be a nice young team to watch. So we'll see. Yeah, Todd, I agree. They have a good young future. 49er Jeff says the Lions. Yeah, I like the Lions. They got a good young future themselves. That's a team. I like Dan Campbell. They got Saint Amon Ra. They got Williams, who will probably be back. They got a nice little young team. Their defense is young. They're on the rise. Jeff Okudah had a bounce back year. I like him. My boy Aiden Hutchinson looked good last year. Jared Goff resurrected his career. And Dan Campbell's not a bad coach. So I think the Lions are a team on the rise. Todd says, what do I think about the Commanders hiring Eric Bieniemy? I like it, Bieniemy. I mean, it's crazy that he hasn't had a head coach offering. I thought that was crazy. But I like the addition of Bieniemy. I mean, he was on one of the best teams in the last couple of years. I think he probably could have stayed with the Chiefs, and, they probably could have continued to at least compete for a Super Bowl. But, hey, if he wants to get a head coach job, maybe if he can go to Washington and show they can be a top offense and develop some quarterback there, that'll look good for him. I mean, I feel like he should have got a head coaching job somewhere, but to me, it's a little crazy that he took a lateral move to go to a team that's not as good. But for him, maybe he wants to prove that I really am that guy. So good for the Commanders. I was surprised that he took a lateral move. My man Drips, what's up? How you doing? Let's see. David says, I wasn't here at the beginning, but how do you feel about Lewin? And Cheesecake said, yeah. So what he said was, I said, no thanks for Lewin. He's an LT. He's not a right tackle. He wouldn't fit our need. So that's the big takeaway is he doesn't even want to play right tackle. And the man's a walking injury case. He's got 2 ACL tears in 3 seasons. You think Javon Kinlaw's knees are bad? Go take a look at Lewin's knees. They're probably worse, man. So I would just say no to Taylor Lewin. That's me. That's just me. That's my humble opinion. I don't want Lewin. You can sign him up if you're the GM, but if I'm the GM, if I'm John Lynch today and Lewin and his agent call me, say, yo, can you sign him to the 49ers? I'm saying, let me take a look at his injury report. Here it is. I'm pulling it up. They're faxing it right now. Okay, cool. Hold up. Oh, ACL to you played 5 games with it. Yeah, I'm going to say no. Have a great night. That's my take on it. The guy is a walking injury case. He's a great player, but come on, man. No way. You know how bad we have it with injuries in the first place? We cannot continue to bring in players with the injury history. I love Jason Verrett, and I love that guy. But, man, it's like if the 49ers were to re-sign him, you know he's probably going to get hurt again. You just know. So don't put yourself at that risk. And I know he's a low-risk type guy, and if he were to stay healthy, oh, man, look how good he could be if he's healthy. But when you have to sit there and convince yourself and say, if he is healthy, he could be good, that's already a red flag. It's a red flag. So it's a red flag. Yeah, keep it down. I'm on the phone. We got a guest in here. We got to get my boy in here. What's up, man?
What up? What up, Raj?
How much, man? How you feeling? How you feeling, my boy? No Border Sports is in the building. How's it going, man?
Man, better if we had a little more idea of what was going on next season as far as the quarterback room goes. I was on a show last night with Beto and Mariah from Mariah 49er Faithfully podcast, and I can't remember who broke the news about the postponement of Purdy's surgery. Kind of want to ask you about that.
Yeah, no, I literally I went live last night and I was doing the show. Like as soon as the notification dropped, I was like, oh god damn it, I gotta go live. I mean, we made the post. You see Tom Pelissero. Tom Pelissero is the guy that reported the news first. And to me it sucks for Brock. Like a lot of people are like, you guys, you gotta chill. You're making it too big of an issue. It's already the end of February, right? At the end of the day, it's already been 4 weeks since he had the injury. So to me, it's like you just keep on postponing it. And the longer we wait, the longer it's going to take Brock to come back. And again, we still don't know what they have to do to the elbow. They're expecting, like the reports are saying, yeah, it'll just be a repair, 6 months, no problem. But that's if everything's, cool beans. They might have to go in the elbow and say, oh, it's a little bit more intricate than we thought. So if that's the case, then it's going to take even longer. So Brock I don't know. There is a chance. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. There is a chance that he may not be able to play this year. Like there's a small chance.
I think it's a great chance.
Yeah,
the reason being is who did Brock go to get this done?
He went to
like the best dude in the country for it, right?
Yeah, basically Texas Rangers. Orthopedic guy. He's one of the best, most renowned orthopedic surgeons out there. Yeah.
Right. And so he goes, hey, come back at this time. You should be ready. We'll do the surgery. Right. Obviously swelling was so bad at that point in time, they couldn't see in there to get a good idea of what's actually going on. Right.
Yeah.
So they're like, it could be this and that. Maybe he's got a little more strength than they expect. And that's why I think it's partially, messed up, not fully detached. But it seems to me like if it's not, swelling hasn't gone down enough now, that just means that it's a full reconstruction that he's going to need. Because if he's saying, looking at it one day going, seeing the injury and how it was caused, looking at what he saw through the x-rays or the MRI, I don't know what they used to look at it. He made an assessment with all his professional opinion, and that was wrong. And he had to post-date it. He had to push it back. To me, I think there's a lot more going on. And I think the 49ers fans should just brace for Brock Purdy not coming back next year.
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Again, I mean, everybody heals at their own capacity, but if you're a 22-year-old man, or 22, 23, it should heal pretty fast. But it is an intensive, ligament damage. That's a big. So to me, okay, so if the initial diagnosis was, okay, it's going to take, it was 4 weeks, basically 4 to 5 weeks, or it was about 4 weeks out when they said, okay, we're going to schedule the surgery on the 22nd. So to me, okay, that's when they went in, and what the doctor's saying, they're going to postpone it. To me, it's saying it still could be like a partial and maybe not a full. But to me, it tells me that, yeah, okay, now that we got to wait 5 weeks, that initial tear is a little bit worse than what it was, initially thought. So, yeah, there could be, again, more damage, more structural damage than they initially thought. But again, they won't know. We absolutely won't know because a lot of it is just speculation until they go in and look at it. But it is a little bit of a setback because, again, what's to say that, let's say, in 2 more weeks, which would be March, when they go and, look at the elbow, say, okay, let's pick this date. Oh, it's still too swollen. What if it's still too swollen? So you never know, and at that point, you really got to wait because if you have too much swelling in the area, you have a risk for infection. There can be nerve issues, stiffness at the joint. There's a lot of different aspects that can happen. So it's unfortunate for Brock. I feel bad for him because, I'm sure he wanted to get this ready, rolling, get his mind right, start preparing for rehab. Now it's just another couple of weeks where he has to dwell on it and think about it, and he's not working to getting back yet. So it's frustrating for him.
Yeah. I remember one time I was playing basketball and I was going for a ball, and with all my force, I ended up hitting my buddy in his elbow in my wrist. And it swelled up so big and so bad. I thought something might be broken in there. The thing was excruciating. I was a beer man. Once you open up the case of beer, you can't, like, I can one hand a case of beer. Once you open up, you need two hands, right? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I go to the doc and they took some x-rays. The nurse, triage, takes some x-rays, sit in the room all by myself. Doc comes in, walks straight past, doesn't even look at me, tells me it's not broken. And then once he takes a look at it, he has to come all the way across the room and palpate it, because
Yeah.
he had to make sure it wasn't broken, because obviously the swelling on the x-rays was the swelling was so much in that area, he couldn't really see her, but he had a pretty good assumption that there was nothing wrong. But once he took an actual look at it, in real life, he had to go, no, we got to take another look, because I'm not losing my practice over this.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's scary. And you're right. What you said earlier is we got to maybe brace ourselves for a potential season-ending type deal. I hope that's not the case, but there is a possibility, there is a chance, there is a percentage where that might be the reality. I hope, and I think the Niners are all hoping that it's the 6-month rehab, repair, blah, 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 blah. That's what they're setting us up for. But we didn't expect this setback to happen, so you have to prepare yourself for worst case scenario. So that brings us to Trey Lance. He's got the golden opportunity. This is his moment now. He's by default QB1. What do you think? What's your take on Trey? Do you think he lives up to the ceiling? Do you think that he can make this? He's obviously got to take this opportunity and make the most of it. What do you think? Is he going to be able to pan out? Why do you think people hate the guy? I don't know. What's your take on Trey?
I like Trey. We've invested a lot in him. I want to at least see what he's got. Okay. I want to see it out to the end. Okay. One way or another. I think we deserve that as a fan base, and Trey deserves that as a player who got drafted, to the NFL. I think both people deserve to see the outcome. One thing I do want to see is I want to see him draft a quarterback. Like I said, I don't think Purdy's coming back, or potentially, if not later. Let's not bank on him. I think we need to draft one, maybe get an undrafted free agent, and also I want to see them pick up a free agent.
Okay,
And
so give me some names.
Like not Bridgewater. What's his name? Brissett, Jacoby.
Yeah, Jacoby. I like him.
I want somebody who can come in and be competition, right? And it'll make Trey either have to be better, or we'll have a better quarterback than Trey at least start the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think we need, like, giving Trey the biggest chance to succeed. Yes, that's great too. But it's better when you race against somebody else. You know what I mean? Your time gets quicker. You know what I mean? Because you're pushing, you got something visual to. Did you ever play Mario Kart and do the ghost laps? You know what I mean?
All the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because if you just race, if you do anything solo, you're not getting pushed by anybody. You don't have any. There's nobody to push you there, or there's not a goal. When you play against someone, when you practice against someone, or you do anything with somebody else, that it makes you. You're like, I want to look better than them. I mean, it just competition breeds success. The old saying, right? And it's iron sharpens iron. Whatever Bojangle speech you want to say. That's it. 100%. When you have someone out there pushing you, it makes you better. So I agree with that. I wouldn't mind Jacoby Brissett. I would love that move. I think he's okay enough to come in and he can pick it up and they can win games with a guy like that. Now, there's other options out there, but I feel like top three to me, I got Jacoby. I like Minshew. Those are two guys that you can probably pick in.
I'm just not trying to spend a lot.
Yeah, again, you want to keep it kind of reasonable, because having quarterbacks on rookie contracts, that's what you want to do, is take advantage of that. Bring in other players that you can bolster the team, that on defense, on offensive line, which we need. And you also got to pay a guy named Nick Bosa a little bit of cash. So
most definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be increasing. So I got a question here from Jason. I want to answer this one. So do you franchise tag Jimmy Ward? So I'm looking up franchise tag dollars. And in order to franchise tag a safety, they would cost $14.46 million to franchise tag him. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent for the first time in a couple of years. Last time he was a free agent, he took less money to come back. He turned down the Raiders. But it sounds like he wants to test this market, and make his money. Do you think the 49ers, I don't even think they never franchise tag anybody under this regime. I'd be surprised if they were to go out and franchise tag Jimmy Ward. But for $14.4 million, I definitely don't think they're going to tag Jimmy Ward.
The only people they're going to franchise tag are the kicker, a punter, or a long snapper.
Yeah.
Somebody whose major cap is the highest in the paid in the league is not that much.
Yeah.
That's the only positions they're going to franchise. I think if you, I don't know what's going on. If Jimmy took a deal to stay here last time, it could have just been because of the potential he saw in the team. And you could still see that potential here. I just don't know if there's something between Kyle and Jimmy where Jimmy's like, man, I don't know about that guy. You know what I mean? Like there's a bad taste in his mouth about I don't want to play nickel. Well, you're going to ride the bench then. You know what I mean? I don't know. There might be something in that. He could be really upset, been like, I've been here for this many years, this and that, and then Gibson going to take my spot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, there could be some of that there, which would make the price just crazy. You know what I mean? Because you're not getting the regular league deal. You're going to be paying more, because he's upset. But, someone like him would take more to stay here, even though he's pissed at somebody, because you're like, man, taking this all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would definitely. He said he would like to stay here, but it's going to be about money. And at the end of the day, if you're going to play him and make him that versatile player, which he doesn't necessarily want to do, if he gets more money, I'm sure he'd be all right, whatever you need me to do, boss. But at the end of the day, yeah, he wants to get paid at the position that he plays, and he might feel a certain type of way. Again, he's been on this team for many years. He's well loved. He probably sees the potential in this team still. That he knows this is a great winning team. But he's been in the league for 9 years now, and I think he sees it as this could be his last chance to really cash in. He's going to go in there, do what's best for him and his family, and get the bag. And if that means leaving the team, I think he's okay with it. I mean, again, he said he loved this Niner team. At the end of the day, I remember he said on his live, he goes, whatever happens, I'm a Niner for life, man. He goes, I'm a Niner for life. So to me, it was writing on the wall. Like, I might leave you guys, but I'll always remember this team in my heart because he gave me that first opportunity. He wants the money, man. And $14 million for a franchise tag, the 49ers, like you said, would never do that unless it's a kicker, which would be a $5 million tag. That's the only way I see them using the tag. The 49ers are the kings of being frugal and stretching a dollar, to make sure they get who they need. So I don't think I think that Jimmy Ward he's long gone,
And think about this too. Like, Jimmy might even take equal or less money just to secure a safety spot. Go to a team that, not going to make him play nickel. You know what I mean? And he'd be like, bro, I just want to play my spot. You know what I mean? I just want to retire in my spot, do my thing, do the same thing I've been doing. I'm getting too old to be running all over the field and the slot position. You know what I'm saying? I can see all this coming out of his mouth.
I can see it, man. Like, I agree. Like, he was like, you could kind of sense he was just like, I'm 32 years old. I don't need to be playing and proving myself and doing this. Like when Kyle told me, you want me to ride the bench? And I looked at him and says, hey, yeah, I'll ride the bench for you if that's the case. He really wanted his spot. Like, shout out to Sean Gibson for balling out and playing better than any of us expected. I did not expect Gibson to come in and be like, oh my God, this guy is making everybody forget about Jimmy Ward. Like, he came in, he was a late off-season signing off the street, and you're like, this guy's 32. Who is this guy? Bro, he was solid, man. He was good.
I remember going, who's this guy? Oh, crap. Da, da, da. And then it was just like, oh, damn. Oh, yeah. He's ours.
Yeah, he was good, man.
Acting like I've been knowing him for 12 years.
That's funny. I've seen him play in other years, but that was like, I remember 2000,
a decade ago.
Yeah, like 2016, 17. I remember he was like a Pro Bowler on Chicago. I was all right. And then, so when I saw the Niners were signing, I was like, I mean, if this was 2017, cool. But, man, he played better than he ever did in his career with the 49ers.
Anytime you've seen one of the 49ers pick up an older guy like that, and other than Jason Verrett, you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, these are just depth pieces, practice. gonna see the field like maybe twice a game, if that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he was, man,
He's
solid,
a
bro.
starter, man. He
Solid.
proved me wrong for sure. I was like, it's John Gibson, whatever. I was at the end of the season going, man, we got to resign this guy. Now he's thinking about retirement. I'm like, I hope he doesn't retire. I hope he comes back. So he definitely proved himself. Yeah, 100%.
Come get a chip with us. One more year with
One
us.
more year. I could see him if he does resign with the Niners. It's going to be one more year. My man Todd says, does anybody like Hendon Hooker? I liked him. He was good in Tennessee, but he had a nasty, nasty injury. So if the 49ers were to get him, he's not really going to do anything for us. It'd be a developmental redshirt type pick. I wouldn't mind.
Tired
I
of those
wouldn't mind
picks.
undrafted. Get him as an undrafted free agent, 7th round pick or something. Throw him on the team. Throw him on the IR. I like the guy. He was good in Tennessee.
I want more rumblers up front on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you're talking about DJ Jones and what's his name coming?
Talia Davis.
Yep, Kalia Davis coming in. Yep. I want every year we need to be taking shots at
Yes,
that position
I agree.
because all else fails, trade them for capital.
Yeah.
Apply it to a different position. If you can pick guys out like that, they should be getting them year round.
I
Like
agree.
there's no reason that we should be playing.
No, I 100% agree, man. You need to bolster. The game is one in the trenches, like they always say, right? And I think they need to continue to build that D line interior on the edge. Give me another guy to help bolster on the outside, because if they don't get a premium defensive lineman, you're going to be rolling with Javon Kinlaw in his last year of his rookie deal as your top guy next to Armstead. To me, that doesn't strike fear on anybody, and he hasn't proven that he could even play a full season. So they have to. They would be silly if they don't continue to bolster that defensive line, defensive tackle spot. And I know they got guys like Kalia Davis, but we haven't seen what he could do. He was injured last year. Can he play a lot of reps? We don't know how much he could even tolerate. You got some free agents, Kevin Givens, McGill. Like, they were nice, but they're not starters. They're good depth pieces. No disrespect to them. They were pretty good. And then you have guys like Hassan Ridgeway, who was there, but he got hurt. Maurice Hurst, he never really got to prove himself. So you got a couple guys. Some of them were hurt. Some of them were depth pieces. So I 100% agree. You have to get interior defensive linemen. Just like you need to go bolster the O-line, do the same thing on the D-line, man. I agree.
To me, it seems like they get their favorites and then they get complacent and they don't like look around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, we got this guy here. Oh, no, bring them all into camp. Bring them all into camp. If some guy is giving you the same production he's given you for the same 3 years, and you got a guy who comes into camp and, he's a young starter and he gives you some sort of flash, maybe it's worth, moving on from a guy who's giving you the same production for 3 years, which
Yeah.
hasn't been much. And there's the reason why he's still here because we don't pay a lot of D-line. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So therefore, you know what I mean? He's probably just average or
Yeah.
below.
And that's what they do. They get complacent with a lot of players. They're like, okay, he's good enough. He's okay. He fits what we need. He can come in. We don't have to train him. It's like, oh, he knows we can give him he comes in day one training camp. He comes in, clocks in, does his job, and he leaves. They're okay with it. But I agree. Maybe sometimes you need a little bit more, because what are we doing? We're getting to the NFC Championship 3 years out of 4 years. How are we going to climb over that hump? Maybe you need to bring in some new fresh blood. Maybe that's what you need to do at certain positions, because getting to the NFC Championship, I love it. I want to win an NFC Championship, win a Super Bowl at some point. So whatever you got to do to get over that hump, you got to figure it out. And maybe it is moving on from your average guys that just do the bare minimum and you're complacent with. Maybe replace them with the guy that could do a little bit more. I agree with that.
Yeah, I also like, we were talking about Deron Payne on Aaron's show.
Yeah.
Like, with his technique, he's so good with his technique. I don't know how we don't have guys that are on that level. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't seem like. Yeah, he makes it look like it's easy.
I know, right? Like, you look at him and you're like, why can't we have him? But he is. I think he's pretty much getting franchise tagged by the Commanders. But man, that's a guy I would love to have.
That'd be the smartest thing to do if they were them.
Yeah.
Because they're already trying to shop Chase Young around, supposedly.
Yeah, I heard.
Which isn't very good for him. Because he should be the one who's getting franchise tagged. Not this year, but like next year, I believe he should be. Yeah.
Unfortunate though, he had the ACL, so I feel like they feel he's expendable because of the ACL. But hey, if he that's a guy. Now I know I said no to
Are you sure
Taylor
it's
Lewin.
just the ACL?
It could be, maybe it could be more, right? Maybe it could be more.
Because to give up on him and
Yeah,
his talent level over one injury seems like a lot.
that's crazy.
Unless you know, like, the surgery didn't go well and he's got continual issues from it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't done well. There's continuing scar tissue that keeps building up or something like
Yeah,
that. Where,
like something like Javon Kinlaw, he had continuous chronic knee issues year in year out. So
well,
maybe it's something like that. Maybe there is some scar tissue buildup. But if they were to offer Chase Young for like a very cheap, trade, not much in return compared to what he should get, maybe you take a flight. And I know I'm opposed to Taylor Lewin, but that man's had 2 ACLs in 3 years, and he's 31 years old, and he's played.
wait, is it Taylor Lewan or
Yeah,
Taylor Lewin?
Luan. I don't know.
Okay,
However you
okay,
tomato tomato. I'm tomato
okay,
tomato. I don't care
no
how you
problem.
say it.
I didn't
Yeah,
know if I was wrong.
I don't know if I'm wrong.
You know what I'm
Probably
saying?
wrong. Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no. I know there's been a lot of people that say, oh, like the moment a player gets cut, the 49ers Twitter, they're like wide on, oh, we got to get him, go get him, go get him, go get him, go get him. And they'll be hyping him up. Sometimes I'm with him, like Christian McCaffrey. When the rumors were out, I was like, oh, go get Christian McCaffrey, please. But Taylor Lewin, Luan, whatever you want to call, I'm not with it. 31 years old, playing in the trenches with multiple knee injuries. To me, that's not a smart investment. I know Chase Young also has knee issues and he's played in the trenches, but he's younger and his potential is still pretty high if he can, find the right team. I get it. There is risk there. There is risk there, but I feel like the risk for him outweighs the risk for Luan because I think his best days are over. He's hit his ceiling. I don't think Chase has hit his ceiling yet. So I
It's
wouldn't
hard to
mind
be.
bringing him in. It's
It's
hard
hard
though.
to.
I wouldn't mind.
It's hard to be an offensive lineman and have 3 of those surgeries already in your career and expecting to last another 10 years. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it can
Yeah.
happen. It could totally happen.
It totally can.
It totally can. It's just the odds are just not there.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to Chase Young, Nick Bosa played with him.
Mm-hmm.
This okay, so if if the Commanders think they've got behavioral problems with Chase Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the issue. Well, guess who the 49ers are going to? They're going to go to Bosa and they're going to be like, "Hey, what's he like behind the scenes? Do you want him on the team?" Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing Nick Bosa damn well knows what the feel of the team is. Is this guy going to mix here? Or are we going to need to get this guy off the squad, halfway through the season? You know what I mean? Because we're not going to deal with some guy tainting our locker room. And I'm sure Nick Bosa would be making the call there because they wouldn't go and talk to Nick Bosa if they weren't willing to make concessions for the injuries. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
100%.
Like they always do.
No, and also too, they're about to pay Nick Bosa a lot of money, so they would want his his input. You're pretty much our leader of our defense. You and Fred Warner, you're one of the captains. We're asking you. You've played with this guy. What is your take? Because if you think about it, a couple years back when they drafted Aaron Banks, one of the guys they looked at was Mike McGlinchey because they played together in Notre Dame. And they asked Mike, they're like, "Hey, we are looking to get Aaron Banks. Should we get him?" And he raved about him. He's a good character guy. He's going to be good for your line. So and at the time, Mike McGlinchey was a captain on this offense. So they really took his input. So I 100% agree. If they were to look into a guy like Chase Young, 100% they'd be like, "Yo, Bosa, what do you think about Chase? Should we bring him in?" If they're really boys, if they really are cool with each other, he'll tell him, "Hey, do what you got to do to bring him in." And I believe, the whole Ohio State connection would be, the bloodlines would be running strong, and I think it would maybe bring out the best in a guy like Chase. But again, it's the injury history that we're not 100% sure on because you're right, there could be some other issues underlying. But I hope that he could be healthy and reach his full potential because that guy, man, he is a beast. Before the ACL injury, the guy was on pace to be a monster. Holy.
Well, seeing injuries in the leagues, like how people have come back from like the Achilles injury, it's just proves that the ACL is just something that could definitely that you can come back from and play high quality ball.
Correct.
Because if you can come back from an Achilles like that, like Sherman, it took him a little bit. It takes them a little bit.
Yeah.
But before that wasn't a thing. Your career was over. They did not have any way to put you back together that was any sort of yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah, the advances in recovery and rehab and in injury care have drastically changed over the years, not just in normal society, but in sports. Yeah, because you're right. Before, an Achilles in any sport, you're done, career ender. But now players are coming back. Achilles, they're back. ACL, you're back. Hopefully UCL, you're back. But yeah, injuries are crazy. Now, I bring up the UCL because we talked about Brock earlier. That's one injury where there's not a lot of history in the NFL. In baseball, obviously it's a pretty common injury because the way they torque and they throw, the pitchers do. So it's a little bit more common. Football, it's kind of rare air. So this is an injury we don't have a lot of, subject matter and a lot of knowledge on the injury. The last person that really went through this type of injury was Nick Mullins. He hasn't really been a starter, obviously, so we don't know what the return really looks like because it's not like Nick Mullins is out there throwing a lot of passes. See him in a couple preseason games. He didn't look great, but it's not like he looked great before the injury. So it's a very small sample size. So we don't know what Brock's going to look like when he comes back from this injury. That's one thing I'm worried about a little bit is will it really affect him in terms of coming back from this recovery? I don't know.
I'm wondering. We got Nick Mullins, we got Brock Purdy. Both aren't known for having a strong arm. I wonder if that plays into them even getting injured this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because to say that only 2 quarterbacks have been hit perfectly, in this type of scenario to injure this, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a coincidence, right?
In a way, yeah.
This common denominator, especially with, I don't know. I
It's,
guess we gotta have more cases, but you know what I mean? Like,
and that's why I said I feel like it's such a small sample size, like you can't really extrapolate too much information from it. Because if you go back and watch the Brock injury, it was the angle, like it was literally such a specific angle, and like that doesn't happen with that just doesn't happen. And I looked back at Mullins, same thing. It was like a very similar angle. I'm like, God dang. So like, what are the odds that these 2 quarterbacks were the ones? It was like similar angle, similar torque in their position, and maybe you're right. Maybe they did throw the ball in a similar manner. Maybe that was a key common denominator. But again, there's just not a lot of examples with this case. So I'm hoping that Brock Purdy can come back strong, but we just don't know how it's going to impact him with this injury, man. It's just, it's so unknown in football. If it was a baseball, you'd have a lot of, examples that you can kind of pull from, So it's tough, man. This is a tough injury. I just hope that he gets the surgery sooner rather than later, because the longer we wait, the worse this is,
Where's everybody else at? Somebody else gonna jump up in here?
I don't know. I think they're enjoying listening to us. We've been on live for about 30 minutes after I said I was going to be done. But any other things, any thoughts, any comments? I don't know. Any other last things you want to talk about as the off season's here? Hasn't been much news out there, obviously, right?
I have a feeling the 49ers are going to have their quote unquote splash move done and announced before free agency, kind of like Travarius Ward last year. He come right in the beginning. So I've watch out at the beginning of the free agency period. I think the 49ers are going to make their move. And then, I was thinking, I know why the 49ers push their big deals back all year long. Is because they pull everybody that they need to sign, and then they come to them and they go, okay, this is how much money we have, but this is how we're going to work your deal. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense. So they can go sign who they need, and then they play the game and make it work.
Then they make the whoever's on that big contract, they go, well, you want to come back and win the thing, right? So you don't want to fuck up this whole great deal. You're still going to get your money. You're still going to get your money.
Yeah, and then they backload it here. They drop some.
We got this.
Parag is a wizard, man. He's just like, she's like, do, and he's just like moving contracts, man. The guy's crazy. I think they might make that splash soon. But what do you think? Who's going to be the splash? What is your prediction?
I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's going to be D tackle. I think they're going
D
to get us a
tackle.
D tackle. They're going to get us the various ward of D tackles. They're not going to get us
Okay.
Deron Payne. They're going to get us the various ward of a
The up
Deron
and
Payne
comer.
type.
The up and
Well,
comer.
not the up and comer, the guy who's consistent, the guy who he's not at the top of the list, but he's at the top. He's top 10. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah. A
You know,
riser. He's out. He's there.
he's
He's consistent. You
he's
know
going
he's
to.
gonna be out there. Yeah, I
Yep.
like it.
And then,
Uh,
and you're not going to cost the top dollar.
but he's gonna cost a pretty penny. But not
To,
Travaris wasn't cheap. He wasn't cheap, man.
no, but he wasn't like crazy amount of money. You know what I mean?
No,
Like that's a very understandable purchase right there. You know,
no. It was a
that's
great.
money well.
That was a amazing purchase. But there was other. J.C. Jackson. I think he got paid a lot more. And then who was the other guy? The Colts. He was. Man, what was the other cornerback?
Gilmore.
Yeah, Stephon Gilmore. Those two guys
Yeah.
were like the premium guys, and they went with the guy that was maybe a tier below but younger. And I like Mooney Ward. He was good. I think if they're gonna make a splash, I want them to take a defensive lineman. But if they're not gonna get Deron Payne, this is it. My man David commented. He says Yannick Ngakoue. If they get Yannick Ngakoue, holy moly, that is a nice edge rusher on the other side of both. So like that right there would be a splash. That would be jump in the pool, splash, pool party, baby. Let's get it. That's what I want right there. That to me, I feel like that's where they might go edge, and then they can solidify that D line in the draft because they got some other guys they can bring back. We talked about, but I want to see them go get Yannick Ngakoue. That would be, that'd be crazy to me.
Yeah, or hey, Jason Poe, make him a defensive tackle. We talked about that before.
We did.
You said he wanted to get paid and be an offense, and I get that. But also at the same time, like if you can get in the league right now and be a starter, bruh, that's your quickest path to getting paid instead of waiting for somebody else to move. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
But nose tackle like him, you know what I mean? Like
he could make a good nose tackle because he got the small side, the size, and he's quick on his feet. I could see him being a nose tackle, but I don't know how much he's played, and he's young. So he's still young, so he could develop there. But if we want a guy right away, I don't know. It might take him a little time, but it's definitely an option.
Send him to wrestling camp. He'll get the hands down.
I'll send him. I DM some of these players. He's one of the guys that actually listens, that answers my DM. So maybe I'm trying to get some players on the show, man. It's just timing, work, and everything, and it's so hard to schedule all that stuff. But I'm trying to get him on. We'll see. Maybe it'd be cool to get him on, and I'll ask him that. Like, hey, you ever thought about playing defensive line?
Like I thought about this a lot. Like he's so quick. Anybody who's trying to do any side of outside zone, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill their gap. You know what I mean? He's gonna eat it. And if he gets double teamed, just take a knee. You know what I'm saying? Take a knee, split him, and then get right through him. He's so small. He's smaller than more than most of these guys on the offensive line.
No, 100%.
He already knows their schemes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm saying it's actually, Nick says that's actually not a bad idea, to be honest. Poe could be another DJ Jones.
Totally.
I mean, it's not a horrible idea. It's actually, maybe, hey, you should be GM. I'm gonna call up John Lynch and tell him to get you in the building. Get you in there. Let's see.
I ain't no Rand. I ain't no Rand Carthen. That guy is way better than me.
Rand, did you see today? He said, all right, first order of business. He cut like half of the team today. He cut so many players, man. I was like, damn, okay, he's really bringing in a whole new team with them. I like it. That was a good move.
He's also setting setting an example. Well, not setting an example. He's putting a statement out there to everybody left.
Yeah.
Hey, you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Everybody else is gone for a reason. Okay.
Yeah.
You're here for a reason. And if you don't want to take advantage of that, you will be gone like the rest of them.
100%. He said, to hell with you guys. Like, he did not care. Let me look. There was a list of like
that's all the probably best too.
Yeah. New team. Yeah, just clean house. This is if you're here, you're here. If you're not meant to be on this team. I was like, wow. Let me see. Let me pull up this list here. The Titans They released, obviously Taylor Lewin. They released linebacker Zach Cunningham. They released, so they released 4 players today. They cleared $38 million in cap space, and $42.2 million in cash off the 2023 books. They got Robert Woods was another guy. Randy Bullock. Man, they released some like solid veterans. That's not bad players. They saved some money, and now that gives them money to go make some splash signings. That's huge for a new GM. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that really is. He learned that from the Niners.
Now that's definitely a retool right there. That's definitely a retool.
That's just smart, man. He's coming in and he's going to bring his own. He's going to put his own stamp on this team, and they need it, man. The Titans were horrible. The fact they traded away AJ Brown last year was horrible. Did you hear his story? So he came out today or yesterday. He was talking about it on some show, and he basically said all he wanted from the Titans was $22 million. He ended up getting 25 from the Eagles, and he got a better quarterback. Going into Philly, traded him. Titans got really nothing from him, and all he wanted was $22 million. They couldn't even pay him the $22 million. He got even more money in Philadelphia, and he got a better situation. That's, to me, if I'm the Titans, that is a big L. No wonder they fired their GM. That's crazy.
Yeah. These are things that really destroy teams in essence, is when you let guys leave over $1 million or so.
It's like a small penny. I mean, they did that with 49ers, did it with DeForest Buckner. I don't want to open that Band-Aid.
That's why I brought it up.
I don't want to open up the Band-Aid, but I mean, it was a few million. I remember he commented on my post like years ago when it happened, because I can't remember which. There's somebody on Twitter reported it. The 49ers are looking to pay Defoe X amount. We reported it. We posted it, right? He was in the comments and he goes, "That's not true. Da 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 da. Fake news. Da da da." It was like a matter of like X amount, like maybe $1 million or $2 million. So, and then we go about on Twitter, we posted like, "Oh, it's fake." And then when all the contract details came out, it ended up being true, but he didn't want to like spill the tea, and it was basically over like $1 million or $2 million. It's like, wow, that's why they wouldn't keep him around. But that's business, And I feel like that's probably the one decision I bet you John Lynch wishes he could take back and like, fuck, man, we messed up on that one.
I don't know. I think Eric Armstead's a better run stopper.
Yeah,
which is what we need in the wide nine. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you're banking on Bosa and everybody else, you know what I mean, then you can worry about getting production and sacks somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have come to understand it. The only thing I really didn't is why pay him the same amount almost.
Yeah. That to me was Armstead worth that much? Like, and I love Armstead. I think he's great at what he does.
Hey, do you see that Raiders play this year where he took hits from 3 different guys and like on the goal? I fell back.
He was a beast, man. He was a beast. Like, he didn't play a lot this year. This was his first year. He really missed a lot of time since 2016. Yeah. But I mean, the guy's solid. He does his job. He's a space eater. He's a big time run stuffer. But paying a run stuffer $20-some million is a little crazy. But obviously, they felt like keeping him, bringing back Jimmy Ward that year, and getting a top pick. And it was like, oh man, if we trade Armstead, we're not going to get the first. So I understand where they were coming from. The execution of it all was probably not the best. And the fact, I think the biggest mistake was keeping D Ford. I feel if they could have made a trade, maybe trade D Ford. But again, it comes down to he wasn't available. He was injured a lot. They wanted to see if they can get anything out of him. And he wouldn't have given him a first-round pick like Defoe. And to me, it was like, okay, we love you, Defoe, but if we're going to trade somebody to make this work, you give us the most value. And it was just a business decision. But it was a tough one. It was a tough decision. Fans still bring that up to this day, man. And
oh yeah,
it is what it is. But maybe they learned from it. And again, this is another offseason where I'm going to have some big decisions. So we need some help for Armstead, though. Speaking of Armstead, and like you said, Deron Payne would be phenomenal, or some defensive tackle, like you said, your splash signing. So if they bring me an interior D lineman, I'll be all for it, because Armstead does need some help, man.
Yeah.
D-Fraud. Tommy says D-Fraud fleeced us. God, he did.
And I don't think Eric Armstead, he doesn't get full pressures. He gets these half pressures, and then other offensive linemen see him break it free, and then they have to get off they have to stop, combo blocking to help double team him, because they know they don't want him one-on-one, you know what I mean? Because he's a beast.
Yeah.
So if he's got good position, they're trying to figure out how to get another man on him at any point in time. It's not like he's garbage. You know what I mean?
No, he's not garbage.
out of the
But
gate, he's not getting untouched going through people and getting in the backfield like DeForest Buckner was.
no,
You know what I
100%.
mean?
Like you
Buckner,
said, he's a run stopper. Defoe's game was he's a pass, rush. He's gonna straight
exactly.
line rush. He's gonna sack the quarterback. They both had different games, but I think a lot of people love quarterback sacks because that's a flashy
It's
stat.
flashy.
It's
Yeah.
flashy. It looks great on highlights. Run stuffing doesn't. Generating pressures doesn't. But it helps out Nick Bosa. So get Armstead some help. But I think that they need to restructure his deal because he has the second highest cap hit on this team next to Trent Williams. I love Armstead, but having the second highest cap hit on this team is a little crazy with the players that we have on it. So,
But
is it defensive lineman?
why not eat it now? Sorry, I'll let you go, but like,
No.
why not eat the cap now instead of
Because
later when we've got all these other bigger guys who are going to have to get paid and all this and that? If we push, and I'm not one scared for kicking things down the road.
I don't
And
either.
you can kick them down $1 million for the next 30 years. Who gives a shit? You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like
yeah. The reason I say
cap
now
going up.
the reason I say now is because this window, I feel, isn't going to be going on for all these years. You got maybe 2 years with guys like Warner, Bosa, Kittle, Arms, and Ayuk and Debo in their prime. Like right now, and Christian McCaffrey, like you got a good 2-3 years with this core guys. So maybe cut his cap down a little bit so you can bring in a few other guys, like we said, an edge rusher, maybe a safety, interior lineman. Go make sure you fortify those needs you need, an offensive lineman, right tackle, whatever, because we want to win a Super Bowl this year. Because if you keep on pushing this back and delaying it and not having all the right pieces, you're going to get close again, but you won't be able to get over the hump. So that's why I say now, because you don't know how long this team is going to be in this window. That's it. It's this window to me is only there for 2 more years.
This next season is up in arms or up in the air, I would say.
I agree.
Why do everything to get your cap down this year and push things down the road when this next season might be the best season to pay everybody the most money, get it down, you know what I mean, get it out of the way, and then be able to pick up where you left off trying to be cheap, you know what I mean, and get as many people in the building as why you still have players on the team. Because if Trey doesn't work out and Brock doesn't come back, then we're looking at Tyler Heineke or Jacoby Brissett or another drafted rookie quarterback, which I'm gonna 99.99% guarantee that it's not going to be like the last time we drafted a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just see that this window would close, and I feel like there's other issues where, I feel like if you just eat this big cap hit from Armstead, then you may just end up extending him. I feel like, and to rework the contract. Because again, I feel like it'd be nice, but I don't want to give up. I don't want to essentially just say, okay, we're going to punt this year. So I still think we could compete and make it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, the quarterback situation has to be fixed, but I think they should just go all in because who knows in a year or two how healthy some of these guys. Kittle, man, he's taking a beating on his body. Debo, he's taking it like the way they play, the physicality this team plays. They may not have that luxury to stick around for another couple of years to really give it all. These guys have been giving their all for the last 4 years, man, and they're, it's not like they're a non-physical team. This is the most physical team in the NFL, and I feel like that is why I'm like, shit, man, figure it out, get as many people as you can, try to win now because I don't know how much more these guys have left in them, man. Kittle has played at such an intense level. He's a lineman and a tight end all in one every day. You got Jennings who's also doing that. Ayuk now is a big time blocker. Debo, man, like these guys play their asses off. They deserve a championship this year.
Kittle going to the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. I'm gonna go out on a limb right there.
My man Wayne Breezy is in the building. Hey, hop on in. You got a minute to hop in, Breezy? I'm gonna let's see if we can get in. Let's see. I'm gonna post the we were supposed to be out of here a long time, but we're gonna keep going. Gonna make it a 2-hour show today. There we go. Comment. There it is. If you want to hop in, Breezy, if you can, cool. If not, we'll keep the thing going. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. Wayne says he says all in period. All in period. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like you gotta go in and win the Super Bowl this year. It's been a long time since they won.
I'm not saying you shouldn't go all in. I'm just saying you don't have to make all the moves just yet. You know what I mean? Like, look at the Emmanuel Sanders trade. Look at the Christian McCaffrey trade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They came mid-season. I see what you're saying.
Mid-season, figure out where you're at first, and then pull and shoot. Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
I especially with the quarterback situation next year, like it might just be better if things are going bad just to eat that whole contract. You know what I'm saying? Imagine just eating as much as you can to clear the books for the next year.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I see your
seriously,
take on it. I see what your take is because
if you're
again, you
not
never know
going
what's going to
anywhere,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, he's not going there. But I don't know. I feel like
Also, I don't know
I
if I
just
want
feel
to. I don't know if I want to like push his stuff out 10 years and be paying him for 10 years
see
when
that's my thing. Is like imagine you push it out and it's 2032 and you're like, oh look, Armstead's still getting fucking paid for the Niners. Like you know how
it,
sick you'd feel if that happened. You know what I mean?
it's not that. It's about if I wanted to trade him, and other
Yeah.
teams are like, no, dude, I'm not taking that horrible contract.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you have to make sure he's willing to negotiate a new deal, restructure it.
Yeah. I think he'd be willing to restructure or even extend and mess around with some dollar figures here. I mean,
I
they paid him a lot of money already. I'm sure he'd want to redo something with them.
I'm talking about when you're going to trade him,
Oh,
and
when you trade him, yeah.
that's not something I like to bank on. I like to
No,
have a
yeah.
good manageable contract. So if I need to get off of certain people's contracts, you know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. You're right, because it gets sticky. If you have a guy that you wanted to trade, but then the contract messes up, you might not have a trade. And you're right. So it's
Those,
tough. So you're saying eat the contract now. So if you do have to trade him next year, you won't have that messy situation on your hands.
yeah,
Yeah.
you won't
I
have
got
done all
you.
that stuff, and I'm not saying we're gonna trade him the season after next.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that down the road, like I can't remember how many years he's got on his contract. I want to be able to move off of things quick, and I'm not trying to make all this space on the books if I don't know we're gonna need to utilize it all.
I hear you. I hear you. My man Wayne's in the building.
Yo,
What
what's
do you?
going on?
Not
What
much,
up?
man.
What's going on, bros?
I'm doing well. We were talking here. We started out the night talking about the right tackle situation, and I gotta pick your mind because you posted something on Twitter I didn't agree with, and we don't want to talk about it. We'll bring it up, and then we were talking about other players. Maybe we could restructure, and
Sure.
we were talking about Arik Armstead. Do you restructure it now? Do you take the hit right now? And then you says you go all in. Period. So what do you think? What do you think about this whole situation with restructuring Armstead? Let's start there.
Look, we got what, 2 more years with our quarterback situation contractually.
Yeah.
And you keep getting close, but no cigar. I mean, at some point you're gonna have to figure out what it is that we need to do to get over the hump. I mean, obviously we need to keep our quarterbacks healthy, but they have to figure out a way to go all in. And so whatever that means by any means necessary. So if it comes down to the 49ers are the kings of restructuring contracts. And for some reason, they give a 0 F about paying guys in their 50s. I don't know why that's what they do, but that's what they do.
What they
And I
do.
and I agree. I don't want to do that. Like I was sitting here looking, and I don't know if this is like 100% accurate. Like so when I'm on Spot Rack earlier today, I was doing my show and I'm like, wait a minute, we owe Jimmy Ward $6.4 million next year. Like, how is that even possible? How is he still getting dead money from the San Francisco 49ers? But this is some of the things they do when they do extensions and restructuring, and they pay them less so that they can keep them on the team. But once they're gone, they're still getting a hefty check. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know
Was
if
it Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah, it's the
isn't that
Bobby
the
Bo
greatest
effect,
contract of
100%.
all time? Negotiated by his wife. Kudos to the wife,
Kudos to the one.
Mrs.
She looked like that.
Bonilla.
Yo, she's a real one. That's
She's
a real one.
I'm telling you. So
Make sure she got her shoe money.
for years, what 2036?
Yo.
Oh God, man.
God dang, he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire until 2036. So
That's
look,
crazy.
I was agreeing with what you were saying. I was listening as I was trying to get on. But it's like it's just the 49er way. They try to get these players here and they're trying to get this championship, and it's almost like basketball and going into the luxury tax when you like the Golden State Warriors, they're winning and they're like, I don't give a freak. I want my guys here, and we'll just pay the tax. Unfortunately, it's not like that in the NFL because of the salary cap, but that dead money is kind of like saying, hey man, we're trying to keep as many guys here as we can so we can get this championship. So if they have to restructure Armstead, maybe they don't look at him first. They look at Fred Warner because he's younger. Maybe they look at Christian McCaffrey, say, hey man, we got you on here at 12 million on the books. How about we just rework a deal and restructure something, extend you and do something? So there's ways that they're gonna find. There's ways Parag Marathe is gonna find ways to manipulate that, and the guys are gonna be comfortably and paid like for years to come. So I think they'll figure that out. I'm not really worried about that, but we do gotta free up money because I'm saying $3.1 million as of right now, and we got to free up some money, especially if we're talking about, fixing that defensive line, which to me is the most important thing. I know we have holes on the offensive line, but god dang it, I want a defensive tackle that can do it all.
Yeah. D-line is, to me, is a huge, like, everybody's talking about the offensive line, and I get it. To me, it is definitely a need, but I don't think anybody's talking about, other than you, I know you talk about a lot, the defensive line, because I feel they need an edge rusher, like premium guy off the edge. Nick Bosa can't be the only guy. He was tired, hand on the hips in the playoffs because he did everything for this team. And we talked about it. We just talked about Armstead being the key defensive lineman. They had a lot of rotational guys, but we need some quality, like massive guys that are going to change the game. Teams fear this defensive line. I like some of the guys they have that are rotational players, but we can't rely on rotational players. So I agree with that. I
need a
feel
nice
that
one tech.
Yeah, we do.
That's what it is. The one tech defensive tackle. Giving me. I mean, I know I'm screaming for Deron Payne, and I know we can't afford him. But man, if there was a way, if there was a way, I'll take Hargrave at this point as well. Those are my top two.
Yeah.
And then you still draft a guy, but see, you know what it is? The 49ers just don't have the luxury of drafting the best guy because they're not picking in the first round again. So that's fine. So we have to figure out ways to make shift with what we have. And I think if the 49ers can figure out ways to free up some money for free agency, I think they go ahead and make that splash just like they did last year. And I'm starting to understand their pattern, right? And so last year it was like, man, we need a DB. And we've been screaming that for 15 years.
We've been yelling.
Oh my gosh, right? Since Deion Sanders, we've been screaming it, right? And so the 49ers went out and signed Mooney Ward. It wasn't the guy that I thought we were going to sign. I was like, yo, get me what's the kid from the Patriots? Get me him.
Gilmore.
Yes, not Gilmore. That was my second.
The other one.
The Patriots guy, he was locked
J.C.
down.
Jackson.
J.C. Jackson, who ended up tearing his ACL and not playing for the whole last season. But that was the guy. I was like, get him. He's a lockdown. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about that. And then all of a sudden, they go for Mooney Ward, which when you look at what the 49ers were doing defensively on that man in that zone, he was the guy that would lock down. And so it was really good having him on this team, and it actually helped our defense and our secondary play a lot better. He had to learn more zone concepts, but he got that as he went along, his bumps and bruises. What's going on, fam?
What's up, Gannon? How we doing, my man?
I'm just excited right now. I'm here with a couple of legends. Shout out to Breezy.
What's up, bro?
Sorry to kind of go off on a tangent before I get started, but Jason Aponte, Wayne Breezy, Eric Crocker, and I don't know why Jesse Naylor, they were both huge as far as me coming out of my shell. And Breezy in particular gave me he pushed me kind of forward. He actually liked and read some of my articles.
Absolutely.
And he allows me to try and run his Discord. So I'm really appreciative of that.
I appreciate
for sure.
You. Thank you.
No doubt, man. So what's your take on the free agency? We're talking about, offensive line, defensive line. What's your take on all of it? You've been sitting here listening. What you got, man?
I think there is a way to get Deron Payne, but I also too think there's a way to get Mike McGlinchey as well.
Oh.
When we look at teams, right, some teams kind of have a flair for, that certain panache to really just go after and attack free agency. When I kind of look at the 49ers, I've been so used to them kind of playing it, conservative, kind of coy and to the chest. But they have a shot if they want to kind of go down the New Orleans Saints route, right? Like the Saints and the Packers have just seemed like two franchises paying their quarterback an absurd amount of money and then still re-signing everybody. Everyone's going like, when do they run out of money? And that's when last year, I'm not as good as everyone else is. I think during the regular season, information is just too fast for me. So that's why you'll never see me operate this show or be on this type of medium or platform. I prefer to be behind the scenes. But what I do love is I love the off season. We're talking about right now how we're cash strapped. Well, the two players who are going to be restructured, and the 49ers, of course, are going to PR spin it, is going like, oh, these guys are 49ers for life. We had to do it. These are our men or boys. They're both California proud. And that's our running back, Christian McCaffrey. Okay. His contract's going to be restructured. And that's also too, that's going to be Eric Armstead.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are kind of going like, well, why are we going to go ahead and re-sign Eric Armstead? Why are we doing that? Why not just eat the cap? Well, Eric Armstead has an agent too, right? Like we always talk about, there's a coach on both sides of the field. Well, in the front office, you have masterminds at either side. Well, one way to manipulate or kind of manufacture a way for you and your client to get in another deal, right? And because we're talking about he's going to be like 31 once his contract expires. So a way to kind of forcefully manufacture that is you look at like 2023, right? That $15 million cap hit for base salary, right? But we're talking about 23, this upcoming season, 25, the next season. As far as like trading him, moving or anything like that, he's got 2 voidable years on his contract. So that's what a lot of times what GMs do sometimes is you'll see somebody, they get this base salary. So for instance, I'm kind of going off a tangent. If we could re-sign Deron Payne, and we're saying $15 million a year, but that's not that first year, right? So if everyone kind of gets on their laptops or their computers, and we could come up with the average that Deebo Samuel was supposed to be making, but he didn't make that average this year, right? So what happens is you get this signing bonus, and then you can prorate that. You can do like a 3-year contract, but then you have what's kind of called like voidable years, or as I like to call them, dummy years, or just kind of just placeholders. But if you get rid of that player, if you do anything, cut him, if you let whatever happens happen, if you just let him freely walk, all that money on those voidable years comes right out with him. So what it kind of did was it was kind of like, hey, Niners brass, I kind of got you by the ass. You need to, unless, because the money's only get tighter, right? Because right now we're going to re-sign. We're actually going to be so insanely under the cap once we re-sign Bosa. We'll be like, wow, how do we make more money? Well, it's because we're not paying his $10 million salary right now.
Yeah.
Right now we're paying the $1.75 million for the veteran minimum. And then we've spread out his signing bonus over, 7 years on a 5-year contract. And now all of a sudden we're only paying him like $3 to $6 million for this first year, for this first season. So I mean, really, if we want to be serious, if we've got $15 million to spend, theoretically, we could get away with Payne, McGlinchey, and re-signing Bosa and Ayuk.
Damn.
But
where'd the 15 come from?
It came from
the increase. They have an increase in cap space this year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Once you extend his deal and get him situated, you pay him less now.
No, I got that whole
Bobby
part.
Bonilla experience.
I just didn't know where the 15 was coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give another shout out to I think someone who's just been a pioneer, really. And oh no, I'm starting to get a brain fart. Oh no, the salary cap guru.
Jason.
Jason Hurley.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He is. He kind of talks like me, not really made for the camera and to be talking to people, but he knows his stuff, right? Nobody wants to come here and listen to me. They want to listen to you guys. My inflection's kind of flat, and I am a nerd.
Honestly, everything you just say, the comments, they all love it because not a lot of people understand the cap like that, and it's good to break it. We need guys like that to help us understand it, because what you just said, if we can get Deron Payne, and like everybody else you just said, and re-sign Bosa and get McGlinchey. But I'm telling you, if the 49ers were to do that, every fan would be jumping. Well, I would say about 90% be jumping for joy, because there's gonna be those people that don't. But man, that's amazing to me. So 100% keep doing it. We love it. That's the stuff we always see, like the cool like news in your face, like, oh, the 49ers signed Chris McCaffrey. But what does it mean? What does that actually mean? And you're right. There's other aspects to it. So we love it, man. So
Here's what makes that whole scenario interesting, though, because if you know the 49ers like we know the 49ers, it's not like they're going to make this I got to get this thing done ASAP type of thing. And if you know the Bosa family, like I know the Bosa family, there's going to be some language jargon that's going to go back and forth. So usually, typically, these contracts don't happen to what, August, and so that's a problem. And so, like, free agency's damn near over with. Yeah, you can pick up guys in August, but all the good ones are gone. And so, like, it's gonna start with McCaffrey. It's gonna start with the restructures first, and then the Bosa money may help free up some stuff, unless they get the deal done ASAP, which I don't see happening. Not with the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree. They take their time on that kind of stuff. So I want to change gears real quick, because there is a guy out there that Wayne brought this up today on his Twitter, and I was like,
oh I sure did.
Yeah, you did. So Taylor Lewin, he was released today. So
that's my guy.
Rand Carthon, shout out to Rand Carthon. He came into Tennessee. He's their new GM. He says, all right, it's time to make some executive decisions. He says, let's kind of clean house. And he cut, we were talking about it earlier, all the players he cut. And one of the guys is Taylor Lewin, a former left tackle. He was on the team for 9 years. A lot of oft injured, 2 ACL tears in 3 years. People are out there saying Niners should get him. My boy Breezy, you're one of them. I don't think that he's horrible. I think he's had a hell of a career. But man, taking, a player like this, who obviously definitely would be a nice reward if he was to stay healthy, but to bank on him to stay healthy, to start on this team, that's a big gamble, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
low risk, high reward, right?
Low risk, high reward. But so you said it's the perfect fit or perfect.
I never said it was the perfect fit. I said that it makes sense. So it's
makes sense. Okay, so
being perfect fit and making sense. So when I'm thinking about making sense, I'm thinking about bringing in another guy that gets offensive line play, right? Okay. Like he gets, like you don't have to worry about him making critical mistakes at the worst time. It doesn't matter if he plays on the left side. Doesn't matter if he plays on the right side. He's an offensive lineman. Plus my affinity for him and I actually met and Michigan guy, and so I'm rooting for the guy. So there's things for that. Now I understand there's some things he did in the media, blah 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 blah, whatever.
Right, it's all cool to me.
This is all about football. At the end of the day, I know he's a very strong guy, and I know if what he said 7 years ago about not playing right, he didn't say I wouldn't play right tackle. He said he
says I'm not a right tackle.
Yeah, he said the same shit Jimmy Ward said, and where Jimmy Ward ended up playing. Somebody tell me where the freak Jimmy Ward played. Somebody tell me where he played. Please, one of y'all on the panel. Tell me. He was a nickelback, wasn't he? Oh my gosh. He said, I'm a safety. I'm being paid like a safety, so I want to play safety. And then Kyle Shanahan said, hey, man, you want to play football this season? Enough said. I'm just saying, you got Trent Williams, you got guys like George Kittle, you got these guys in this kid's corner saying, hey, man, bring him in. Now, it's a low risk, high reward. So, the injuries, you have to pay attention to that. But listen, bringing in a veteran guy like him can do a few things. It can help push these younger guys in camp, right? Colton McKivitz wants to start. I'm bringing in Taylor Lewan. See if you could beat him out. And if you can't beat him out, that's going to let you know that this guy still has something left in the tank. Now, can he stay healthy? Well, that's something that the 49ers are going to have to figure out, because they're going to have to patchwork together with some of the other guys, Jalen Moore, Colton McKivitz. They'll probably draft a guy or two. So I'm not saying he's the perfect fit. I'm just saying that it kind of makes sense bringing in a vet at that position as an elite. He's an elite player.
He was for stretching.
Yeah, until the ACL injuries, it was tough. I mean, he was the highest paid left tackle at one point.
Yeah, he was. At one point, he set the market for left tackle. So I'm not going to get twisted. He's a good player. I just worry about the injuries at 31 years old.
I worry about the injuries on every player on the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, that's the thing. You bring in a guy that already has injuries. You bring in the Niners.
He fits the team. He fits the bill.
It's the mold.
Like our thing. It sucks. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I just think you bring in a vet at a low risk, high reward. Say he 1 year deal, less than $6 million, $7 million. I know that's not a lot of money, right? That's
No,
cheaper
it's
than
a prove it deal.
Mike McGlinchey. It's a prove it deal. It's incentive based.
Yeah.
So now it's saying, oh, I gotta stay healthy. I go out here, I can make this. I get to the playoffs, I make an extra million. I get to the Super Bowl, I make an extra million. Like there's so many ways.
I will say this: him
him
and Kittle are boys. The
They're
podcast,
tight.
like, so that he would fit the vibe already. So he'd be like, I think he would be able to fit the team. I get that. I'm just, again, my take is,
oh yeah,
I don't know if I want to pay him because of the injuries. Because to me, his knees are worse than Javon Kinlaw's. So it's pretty bad, man.
I don't know if they worse, bro. Because I mean, he had some ACL injuries, and I don't know if they're worse. I mean, I even with his ACL injuries, I didn't see him get pushed back 10 yards.
Yeah.
Not just that, but like for him to leave the field, they have to be like removed from his body. You know what I mean? Like they have to fail completely. Like Javon Kinlaw is like aches and moans are taking him off the field. It's I understand it's probably cartilage on cartilage, bone on bone, but
it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
The knee injuries are tough, but hey, look, bring him in, work him out. See what happens. Sign him to a low risk, high reward type of incentive based deal. If he doesn't choose to retire, which I think that's where he's going to go.
I think he's going to retire. I think
he's nasty enough. He could play defensive line without ever starting.
My boy wants everybody to go switch to offensive to defensive line. Let's run it, man.
No, I'm just saying though. It takes a nasty man.
Mean streak is mean.
Yeah, he does.
And it's mouth mean and show up mean, and I can physically back it up mean, and he doesn't back down from anybody. Yeah. And that, like I played at Adam Levitre's wedding. I don't know if you know who Adam Levitre was, but he used to be offensive lineman in the league. He played for the Falcons. He played for the Titans as well with Lewin, and I think that's kind of like where they were like cool. So I'm sitting there at the wedding, and then they get on the bus, whatever, and I get on the bus, and I've been looking at Lewin the whole night because I knew who he was.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, dude, you're Taylor Lewin. He's like, yes. The dude grabbed my hand, brought me in for dap, literally lifted me up off of my shoes, gave me the biggest bear hug I've ever seen in my. I was like, oh my gosh, this motherfucker is strong as shit. Like he's a really cool dude. We chopped it up, had a drink, like really cool guy. And that's when he was younger. I'm sure he gotten stronger over the years. And when you get to the grown man level of strength, it's a little bit different. He's got his football body. I don't think it's going to happen. I was just saying that it makes sense because this is a guy that I think would fit the vibe. Does he fit the position? Possibly not. Could he fit the position? Possibly. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I respect it. I like it because when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna go crazy."
The first thing you said is, "Breezy, the fan base will."
I said they're gonna go sick if he gets hurt. I was like, "Breezy, you got to take that one back."
but he might bring a sort of confidence to that offensive line. To even if he goes down, that might still carry. You know what I mean?
About that, I'm trying to tell you, like, there's a level of veteranship. And a mentality that he brings. And when you got younger guys like McKivitz and Jalen Moore and Nick Zakil and I don't even know if Sham Schluter is still a part of this organization. They drafted him. Like, these are young guys that are coming up. They see this. Like, I mean, because Trent Williams seems to be more, I'm just going to show it on the field. It doesn't seem to be so vocal. Lewin is all vocal.
He's mouth. He's got that mean streak, like you said. I mean, Trent, he brings the boys in. I know last year when talking to Burford and Poe, they trained with them.
That's right. I remember. Yeah,
he did train with them. But I mean, you can't have enough veterans. You have two. Imagine you have two veteran like Hall of Fame guys on your line. Like that's a lot to soak up. So I see your take. I respect it.
Injury prone, so I get it. Trust me, I get it.
That's all I'm saying. I was like, oh man, I was like,
also I believe
because he's good. With the 49ers, like, oh, Taylor Lewin just tore his ACL and training camp. Like, I can already see some shit like that, and I'm just like, come on.
And then they'll hashtag and they'll at Wayne Breezy.
Yeah, I'm coming for your neck if that happens. Yeah.
So good.
It's like Jason Verrett, man. I love the guy, but at this point, he's got to retire, man. Like, I love it. He's got so much passion for the game, but he's been through every major injury you could think of.
Yeah, and I'm really glad to have a guy like him on this team. just battling through those injuries. And Wayne, you said something I really, really believed in there. And you were talking about that mentality. Like this, a lot of things in life, you got to wake up and you got to want it, right? Like you got to get up and you got to go get it, right? Like things are just not going to happen for you. And having somebody a tackle like that, that's that balanced on an offense that likes to run, positionless football where you can unbalance everything. I think it's worth the gamble. I mean, I don't think he would cost anything more than 10 million. And I don't think you'd have to make that base salary, right? Like,
I'm saying.
You can always work it. You can always work it like Richard Sherman deal. Bet on yourself if this is what you want. You know what I mean? Have George Kittle, and I think you'd have the Bash brothers at that point. With Kittle, Williams. They're all both.
I love it.
Yeah, but can you imagine Kittle helping on the right side? Hey, man. Oh my gosh. I can see it.
Defenses would be scared about us hitting them. Like we would just have the most, and that's just a different type of swagger. And I know that we're worried about his injury history. And Mr. Williams, if you're listening, I don't mean this in any kind of slight, but since we've had him here on this roster, how many years has he played a full, 16 game season, let alone a 17 game season? That's right. Crazy. But I think you do this for the simple fact of like, if we can rest them and that we can get them right for the playoffs, we are talking about, and what I love about Lewin's game is he's just great. As far as run blocking, pass blocking. In the mentality. I mean, it just, this offense would probably hit somebody. Debo would hit somebody and they would all high five each other and just bark at the defense. You've never seen anything like that. It'd be, is that even allowed on the same offensive line?
I'm glad you brought that up. So when I said it makes sense, it's more of the bully mentality. So I'm not a bully. I despise bullies, but when it comes to football, it's all about being the bully. And so I feel like the 49ers were weakest, even though they had probably in my probably statistically a top 10 offensive line this year. I still did not feel the bullyingism from them. I felt it wasn't there. And it started with the center. And so look, I think if you get that, you can go ahead and find a center. You bring Brindle. I wouldn't even oppose bringing Brindle back.
I like Brindle. I think he overachieved it. I didn't expect him to be as good as he was.
He's still weak in run blocking.
He is.
Maybe it's better.
But pass protection was good. And you got to realize, to me, that was his first year he ever played as a starter, or like really played in the league, because he was bouncing around, journeyman type guy.
Sure.
I think he exceeded expectations, especially when you consider, it was Alex Mack who left us high and dry, and he had to come in for Alex Mack, and he played considerably well for, having no experience at the center position as a starter. So I didn't hate him. I like Jake. I mean, he definitely, as the season went on, he was pretty solid for us. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing him back, honestly. I like Jake. I remember sitting here going, oh, God, we got Jake Brindle at center. I remember when the season started, I was like, I don't know. And he impressed me overall. So, yeah, bring him back. I don't mind. And you guys low-key sold me. You guys low-key sold me on Lewin. I'm not 100% on it, but you guys made some good arguments. I respect it. Both of you guys, I bowed down. That was
because
good.
you said the only caveat.
The Kittle line got me. The Kittle line got me. I was like, okay, let's go.
The only caveat is it's not about him being able to play right tackle. I mean, all you do is put your other hand on the dirt. That's it. It's the difference. And you just reverse how you block. I mean, he's that savvy-minded of a player to where he can figure that shit out, right?
He's a beast. I mean, again, if he can give us a season, if he could play a season, like there's no doubt in my mind his talent. Like I know he's good. Like the guy, like
12 regular season games.
I don't even care. You know what you just said is we can preserve him for the playoffs. You give me a playoff run with him, I'm good, man. Give me the playoff run with him too. The Bash brothers was crazy. That was crazy line, man. That was good.
Could you imagine how just warm, cozy, and confident you'd feel as like a first, second, or third year, left guard, right guard, and then those are your war daddies on either end. Like nobody's messing with you at all.
Nobody's messing with you.
It's just nasty.
We need a mean streak on that.
What do you call it when you switch the right or like the left tackle over to the opposite side, and you have like the tight end and then a guard and then a center? I can't remember what they call that, like an
I don't know.
off-balance
I call
line.
that shit nasty.
That
Oh
would
my
be nasty with them.
oh my God.
Man.
Look, I'm dreaming. I'm not asking for prime Luan that's done and passed and gone. I'm asking for the mentality and if he still wants to play football, he should do it here in San Francisco.
He should. I get it. Now I'm with it now, Wayne. You guys sold me a little bit. You got to stay healthy though.
Also, I think he's more of a tactician, more of like a. So I don't know if you know AQ Shipley, but AQ Shipley,
he's on Pat McAfee show.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that guy, he would another mind like that in the room, whether he's on or off the field, would be great. You know what I mean? You got Trent over there just being a mauler. And then you got Lewin over there talking chess and strategy. I'm just saying it could be.
It's just like something to look for. Listen, we don't have a right tackle currently of the status. I heard you earlier saying there's a possibility that they bring McGlinchey back. There is. He's the best. He's probably the second best tackle available.
Yeah.
Until some more of these cap casualties happen. You know, and there'll be other ones. There'll be right tackles. I mean, I know a lot of people want Jawan Taylor from Jacksonville.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. That'd be nice. I mean, honestly, McGlinchey's going to get paid a lot on the market.
He's going to get paid a lot.
You know, right tackle market, there's not a lot of premium ones. He's one of the top 3, I'd probably say. So he's going to get paid. And
if you
let him cash his money, let him get his bag. And
if you can't
I don't want Colton McKivitz starting at right tackle, so they need to figure that situation out.
Or Jalen Moore.
Oh God, yeah, let's not.
If you can't pass block, how can you be considered premium? Or if you're not a consistent pass blocker in some sort of way, you know what I mean?
His numbers went up this year.
They did. They improved.
They were actually on a very steep incline as far as his numbers went last season as well. Before his injury. Before the season started, I was gonna have an off-season article, and I already had a couple names there. I had about 3 names on that list. McGlinchey was one of them, and if you're watching his PFF, he came back too early. There's a couple people who I think came back from injury too early. McGlinchey came back about 2 games too early, and it was visible because you saw him limping, and he was still putting up decent PFF numbers. But it's really hard when you're in school and you turn in a couple D's, and then you have to really knock it out of the park in order to start turning those into B's.
Yeah.
The other thing, I mean, I really I got a soft spot too for McGlinchey. My daughter, she's 7, she's autistic, and then just seeing kind of McGlinchey just the way he is and the way he goes about, he's just a big, nice guy, and just people just are how miserable can some people be? He's over there, he's trying his hardest. These guys are both of our quarterbacks. People are fighting over which quarterback that they want. It's like, can we just want for them to be healthy? You know what I mean? Like Trey Lance, he had to see some therapists and everything like that. I mean, the man is just, he just like, I hope everyone does a couple things tonight. Number 1, shoot a tweet to Brock Lance and say, hey, big ups, get bigger, get stronger. We want the war of the century. And then, number 2, call a best friend. Call it. When's the last time you guys have called your mom? Not talking to you guys, but anybody listening, right? Give your mom a call, right? Like, especially if you're lucky enough to have one. So I just think it's okay to be a little kind and human, I think.
No, that's the way to go, man, because too many people are negative, and we don't need that in this society. And as much as we criticize Mike, he is a good dude and a locker room guy. The team loved him. Like, I remember I was talking to Cam Inman a few weeks ago, and he says that McGlinchey's the CEO of the locker room. Like, they love him there. Like, I remember there was an exit interview. I think it was Spencer Burford. He was talking, and he said how much McGlinchey helped him this year and helped him. He was kind of that mentor. They played on that right side together. And he says, hey, look, man, he took me under his wing, and he didn't have to. And he showed me the ropes, So he was a good leader. And I get it. He wasn't the best in pass protection, but his run blocking, you asked it, how's he a premium player? He's one of the best run blockers in the league. And a lot of teams can adapt that, the zone running scheme that he does so well. And they could bring him in, and he'll be a pretty good offensive lineman. And sometimes it's mental. Maybe he goes to a new team, clean slate, and that's what he needs to kind of get away from the toxic sludge that's been around him. And maybe he'll say, you know what? I got a new team, new money, new bag. I'm gonna go out there and prove it. Maybe he will make it a Pro Bowl. So whatever happens to the guy, I hope nothing for the best of him. You know, I get it. He didn't live up to his lofty expectations. He was a number 10 pick in the first round. So I mean, that is you would expect him to be a Pro Bowler and an All Pro. He wasn't horrible. He just wasn't a top 10 pick, I feel. But he wasn't bad. You know, he was a great run blocker. So I definitely think we are going to miss that from him because I don't think Colton McKivitz is going to be able to do what he did. I don't. Maybe I'll be wrong. I hope. Hey, Colton, if you're watching, go out there and tear it up.
It's nothing like talking trash to somebody who's got about 4 or 5 inches on you, about like, you know, 60 pounds, 70 pounds of muscle.
I can't be talking anything to these guys. They'll eat me alive.
Don't be scared of height. I'm a tall guy.
Oh, man.
I'm scared of the short ones. I keep them all the way out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get a short guy up on you. Ooh.
I think it's hilarious, you know, because you know, if any of the players are watching, you know, I love all you guys, and I would never talk to disrespectfully to a man of your stature, because, you know, just thinking about it, I could probably doorbell ditch their house and they'd probably catch me before I'd even get off the front lawn. And they outweigh me by like over 100 pounds, you know. But we're talking about them like they're trash or garbage. It's like, man, you can't even doorbell ditch.
Oh man,
that's
they're gonna choke you like Aziz is doing here to Tom Brady here. They're gonna choke you like that.
What a great man. Shout out to my boy Tommy Nello, man.
Oh man, he's the goat of pins, man. Oh God. Off season, fellas. Any last things around the horn that you guys want to say? Appreciate you guys for hopping in. You know, off season's fun, man. You got to make the most of it. And a couple weeks, we should be getting some good news. Hopefully, free agency's around the corner. Any plans for you guys around the off season, or what's going on?
Nah, I'm just gonna continue to create content, and I said, get ready for the next season, man. That's what it's all about. It's reflection time for me. I like to that's why I go down to like 3 days a week. I kind of want to sit and reflect on what it is I could do to be better for the people out there. You know, that's what it's all about. This is why we do it. We do it for you guys. So it's reflection time for me, bro.
Appreciate. Yeah, 100%. It's all about the fans, and that's what we got to do. And I kind of do that too during the off season. I try to take a little bit of breaks because, you know, the season, man, it's go all the time, man. So
all the time.
You know, it's good to take a few breaks here and there. Fellas, anybody else want to say some last minute things?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm going to be reading a book during this off season, and really just trying to improve my craft as far as article writing.
Yeah. And
stopping my awkward pauses when I talk so much. And I'm going to read some inspirational books and just figure out my want and my purpose in life, and just kind of have that Aaron Rodgers in a cabin kind of feel.
Dark space dog. I like it.
I love it. Good stuff.
I love it.
That's good stuff. Yeah. If you guys ever want to hop on, just hit me up Twitter or DM me, and we'll figure something out. It's always good to have people on the show. You know, Wayne, I always try to get him on. If anybody ever wants to hop on, just DM me and we'll try to work something out. So it's always good to have people on and, you know, bounce ideas off, you know, makes the off season a little bit more entertaining. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys for hopping in. We had a 2-hour show tonight. That's crazy. So I appreciate you guys for hopping on and listening. Taylor Lewin, let's see if he's going to be a new Niner.
Bring Taylor and Jimmy back. Let's go.
Sir. Let's get it.
Whoa.
I want you guys to have good content.
I'm getting off this show now. No, I'm out.
Oh, man. We might have to have a whole other show on that. Take care, man.
It's time.
Y'all have a good night, man.
All right, man.
Oh, geez. Appreciate you for hopping in, man. Any last question? Any last thoughts on the night, my man?
No, we're good.
Yeah.
That's out.
Yeah.
Bye, man.
Thanks for hopping in, man.
Peace.
Later. All right. Later. I guess we got to leave on that note. I mean, that was a spicy end to the show there. How's everybody feeling out there? I hope we had a good night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a long show, 2 hours. Yeah, hit that like button. Appreciate you guys for hopping in and staying through the whole show. That was crazy. That was a good show. Appreciate everybody that hopped in and joined the show tonight. All the special guests. Hey, you know, we did a call-in show and we had some special guests, and that's always fun to do. So appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your night. I'm going to go make some dinner. I'm hungry. 2 hours. 2 hours, man. I'm hungry. Again, appreciate you guys. Thank you, Gammon, No Border Sports, and Wayne Breezy. Thank you guys for hopping in tonight. I love you guys. And as always, hit that like button. And thank you for tuning in. You guys have a good one. I'll probably be live on Instagram a little later after I eat. We'll see how I feel. Love y'all.